Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Centralist Radio Show. How is everyone in the world? Since I know lots of people all around the planet listen to us, this show particularly goes out to about 100, 120 countries. It doesn't have the reach of some of my other shows that I host, but it's also mostly a U.S. Political news show. And it's not always politics. We talk about a lot of things. Mike, and whoever's helped, Jay's going to join with us next week. Linda's joining us later on tonight. We'll introduce her properly when she comes in later. Um, so you never know who's going to be here with us, and anyone who wants to come on. Okay, before I say this, anyone who wants to come on with political experience or research experience, you don't necessarily have to be a political buff, but you have to know your research. What happens over the years, I've done hosting with a lot of people, and some of the younger ones, this usually doesn't happen to older hosts because they're usually a little bit more mature and a little bit better researchers. But for some of the younger ones, they want to get on and talk about this, and then they get their ass in a corner because they didn't do their research and find out what was actually going on. They just heard something on the internet and said, "Okay, this is news, man." Well, no, that's not always news. It doesn't always work that way. But come check us out. We're here every Friday night from now on. We're back full time. I'm caught up on everything I needed to be caught up on. And so we're back. And like I said, we will be having additional hosts and friends joining us for whatever may be going on. Now, when we were in the break here at the green room, Michael was telling me, Michael Langley, that is, was telling me he's going to vote for Joe Biden in 2024. And I was like, wait, what? So I was just stunned. I still am stunned, man. So, Michael,
Yep.
what is this about, man? I mean, what have you been smoking crack?
I like the freewheeling lifestyle of Hunter, man. He's kind of my hero at this point. I mean, the guy's a complete derelict, but yet he's got all this billions going on. He seems like he just likes to have a good time, no matter how illegal it is.
He
So,
does well. You know what? You know what, Hunter. And I hate to say this on the air, but Hunter reminds me a lot about myself with a little less money back when I was young because I like to get in all kind of trouble. I just did.
naked with guns.
I mean,
That sounds like you now.
that is me now. I mean, I don't have any problem with those kind of things. But and as far as him making money off his daddy's business ventures, that as long as it wasn't illegal, I don't really have a problem with that. I mean, that's what having a dad's about. If they can hook you up and move you on or help you to get along in the world, that's even better. I mean, shit. I lost mine when I was 16, so I know how it is to have to do it on your own.
I I see
And
him as a dysfunctional, like learning disability type of guy who just was loaded with money. I also, apples don't fall far from the tree. Now, Hunter's laptop is back out there, which is loaded with felonies, and then also the stories of Joe Biden taking showers
you
with his
know,
daughter. Man, I
yeah,
mean,
that just I hate to lead with this story tonight, but and this is not the first time we've talked about this, but this so the first time this leaked was a little about 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago. It was before the election, and everybody said, "Oh, it's fake, it's fake, it's fake." Well, now it's been verified. It is his daughter's diary, and when you hear the way she writes this, it's creepy. I don't care if you're a Republican, a Democrat, an Independent, a centralist, a liberal. It's creepy. It is ex Epstein creepy. Yes, that is my personal view. Whoever sent me that, but it's creepy, and I don't know. I don't like this guy being president. I remember saying all this stuff about Trump, and then we find out that Trump kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago and said, "Don't ever come back to my, hotel again. You're not welcome to any of my hotels." So whereas Clinton and Biden seemed to go on vacation with this guy, Trump seemed to give him the boots. I mean, they tried to swing it every kind of way with the media, but in the end, they couldn't because he wasn't on the plane's list. But Clinton and Biden,
as
Clinton was
as an
on there 27
investigator,
times.
as an investigator, if I look at the Biden timeline and I look at just the photos and videos that are available to us, the public, I see him kissing, grabbing little children, women, feeling them up, putting his hands where they belong. Acting inappropriately with little children. Nuzzling them and kissing them. These
See,
stranger
he
children.
makes me think. All my conspiracy friends who are always writing to me, this guy makes me think they're right sometimes. With Bohemian Grove and stuff like that, it makes me think they're right sometimes because this guy obviously. I mean, I have seen him touch people, especially girls, even some boys, and I'm thinking, how why ain't you in jail? One time, okay, it was an accident. Maybe he was drunk, maybe he was fucked up. Ooh, beep beep. Sorry, I gotta blink that out. But I mean, come on, and he does it in such a way. I mean, it's on television in the middle of the Senate. He reaches down and he runs his hand down this girl's hair. I'm thinking, this is not your child. If that was my daughter, I'd have lost it. I'm just telling y'all now, I'd have lost it right then and there. I'd have been going to jail for attacking the senator.
He's
Uh,
touchy feely. But then, of course, there was a woman who accused him of molestation and or rape. And she left the capital because of that. I mean that. So I mean, there's
yeah,
stuff there.
I heard he tried
There's
to
stuff
molest
there.
Linda Tripp. I'm sorry.
Oh
I
my
know
God,
that was gross. I'm sorry.
he must have gotten into Hunter's junk, man. Something like that.
Oh shit. That was sorry, guys. That was poor taste on my part.
I'm not saying
Oh
that Linda
man.
Tripp isn't attractive, and she's not. So I'm just
That's
just
the
right there.
mildest way you could possibly say that. When I seen that woman for the first time, I was like, oh my, because I couldn't figure out I said, why did she turn on her like this? That was such a crappy thing to do to this young girl. I mean, what was she at the time? 19, 20, 21, something like that. I mean,
Who?
she's a pup. And um, Monica Lewinsky, how old is she? I know
She
she's
was
in the
20,
20s.
23.
Yeah, I mean, I know she was a baby. And here's this old
Oh,
woman. Now, once I seen
don't
her, I
give me
knew
the baby
why.
thing. Don't give me the baby
Uh,
thing, man. 20,
well, okay,
23.
I know she was plotting. I know she was plotting because just like all girls do, but
She was a
you know,
freewheeling
and all
female
guys
riding
do.
the carousel, man. Plain and
You know,
simple. She
no,
told her friends she was going to get Bill Clinton, that she was going to get him, and he's easy on the pull anyway. So pretty
yeah,
much simple.
no, Christopher, no. I mean, plotting. No, both men and women plot. In this case, we were talking about Monica Lewinsky, so I said women, but no, men plot just as much as women do. No, they're not. Men can be just as gossipy too. So don't y'all guys don't act like, oh, I don't gossip. My ass, my
Depends on the
ass.
dude.
I know, but still, come on. When guys tell me that, I want to just look at him and go, really? Like, what do you? No, I mean, come on. And there's nothing wrong with gossip, unless you're talking about Amber Turd, and I don't want to hear about her anymore. But so we're gonna move on. But
I love how she came out saying, "I still love you, Johnny. I love you." You know what I mean? She should have
oh
finished the
my
sentence.
god,
"I still love your money, Johnny. I love your money, man." And he's like, "Get out of
yeah,
here,"
yeah, yeah. Go marry Elon, man. Elon, the dude. I love you, Elon. I worship at the Elon altar. But if you ever get hooked up with that girl again, you don't went down like 25 points on my
Well,
list.
didn't some Saudi
You're supposed to be brilliant.
prince offer to make her part of his harem?
Well, see, that's a good job for her, man. She'd fit in good. You know who else should go over there? Kamala Harris. Kamala would make. Oh, that's right. I forgot she's married and got kids and
Those other women in the
runs a
harem would make her
prostitute,
life
right?
a living hell, man.
You know they would
you
too.
don't you don't know
You know
harem.
they would. They would make her life a living hell. They
I got
would.
friends in Egypt, man. You don't know
Um.
harems.
Actually, yeah, hold on. Wait. Danny, where are you writing in from? Where? Okay, that's England, but I can't even pronounce that. I
England.
can't
Woo-hoo.
break it down in vowels for me. Anyway,
Break it
Danny's
down.
writing in because he said, "Have you heard about Ukrainians sinking a Russian tug today in the Black Sea?" I actually have not. I haven't looked. So really, now I'm gonna have to go look and see. So I'll look it up in just a second. So wait, you're saying it's this outrageous? Oh, now man, I'm gonna have to go look. I hadn't even had a chance to look at the news fully, and
I'm
I
kind
was
of
going through
I'm
some of
kind
my
of bored
favorite
with the
articles.
Ukrainian war. My
Well,
5 minute
because what's
attention
going on
span
over
is gone.
it? No,
I've moved on to
Shame
other
on Michael.
stuff.
I
I'm
know,
on
guys.
gas
Shame on
prices.
Michael.
Now I'm getting
Just
mad at
shame
them.
on him.
I would deliver the guy myself at lower gas prices. Go get you
Yeah, but the
Zelensky.
problem is the prices never went up when the Russian war started, so that was all BS.
I
So,
know, but Biden, the price was going up, 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 up. Yeah, man.
okay, big victory. Military analysts on Russian tugboat destroyed in Black Sea. Major step. Hey, all right, cool. It's a
For a
tugboat.
tugboat?
I know. I mean, it's not like it's a destroyer. So when they blew up the destroyer, now that was badass. Well, I guess hey, it's still they sunk a
Tugboat?
tugboat's a tugboat. You got to
Tugboat
have them to
is
move your
it's
big
not
boats around.
it doesn't finish it for me, man. I can't do it. Tugboat.
No, it just doesn't take you there, man.
it's like
Oh,
it's like
I
taking
tell you
out the
what, if
garbage can off
um,
on the thing.
Elizabeth, if
A
we have
tugboat?
time, we'll do this. Somebody, Elizabeth, no, we're gonna do it now. But if we have time, we'll do it at the end of the show. Somebody send us the unfriendliest states in America. I can only imagine those states, but we'll do that later in the end of the show. I don't want to know right now. I just don't want to know because
Unfriendly.
sometimes they do
I
these
can name
things.
quite a few. Texas, really unfriendly.
Uh,
Only Austin's kind of the
oh
friendliest
my
place.
God, come on,
You
really?
you
So
leave
I'm sorry.
Austin, man. People are
Okay.
nasty.
Hmm.
The Lone Star State.
No, people in Texas are friendly. People in Austin are idiots. I've been there enough times. I
Colorado,
know.
people were super friendly,
Yeah,
very friendly, overly friendly,
yeah,
disgustingly friendly.
because
I
they're going to
love it.
get you high and mug you later on that night.
Mug
Man,
you.
Michael is
Who gets
gullible,
mugged when they're
God.
high? You gotta be pretty whacked out to get mugged, man. I mean,
That's what I'm
you know what I
saying,
mean?
man. They get on them on that candy and they go mugging people. It's actually a thing.
I'm
It
from the
cracked me
city,
up when I
man.
heard it the first time.
You know what? When you grow up around that, then it
But
becomes
you ain't
second
gonna. But
nature.
that's the
You
thing. You're
have
not
you
gonna
have your
expect it. You're
antennas
gonna
up.
be all.
You,
You're gonna be
you
all
know
like, "Oh,
people.
these friendly Colorado people," and you're gonna be drugged out of your
Out of all
mind.
the times I went to New York City, I ran to a crazy person every time. Somebody who was
Shit.
really out of their minds. Colorado, yeah, whatever, man. But see now, Colorado, they're like, "Ooh, you're from New York. They know something about you, man." That New York is like a shield. You go all around the world. You're from New
No,
York,
no.
and it doesn't
See,
even matter if
it
it's
is for
upstate New
you.
York
It
for that
is for
matter.
you because no, it is for you because you're older. But for younger people in New York don't get the respect it used to. So it used to, but and that's for people who are older. But if you're like 30 and under, you don't get no respect if you're from New York. We just look at you another crazy ass liberal city we don't want to talk about. So yes, no, we're going to do this right now. So the squad. Presley wants voting age lowered to 16 and gun buying age to 21. Okay, with everything but shotguns, I'm fine with the age going to 21. I'm fine with background checks. I don't have a problem with any of that. Voting age is 16. I have an issue with. I have an issue with it at 18. I think that voting age should be whatever age you are to serve in the military. If you can serve in the military, you should be allowed to drink and to vote. If you don't want them to do that, if you can't go out and get drunk, then why should you go out and get dead? Um,
The Democrats, they know that young people vote largely Democrats, so they want to appeal to that and raid that age group, but really it comes down to, is a 16-year-old capable enough to make the right decisions to manage their own life? As a 17-year-old, maybe when you and I were 18 years old, it was a different world, and there was
oh yeah,
AR-15s, there was all these guns out there. Nobody shot anybody up. Nobody did
man, we
any of
had
that
much
stuff.
better guns than
So the,
AR-15s. Them old
but
crappy
yeah,
things.
but the mentality now is different, and 18-year-olds are made to be very young, man. They keep people super young instead of giving them the responsibilities and the duties of an adult.
Well, that's true. That does happen a lot. I mean, we got it's well, put this in perspective, Ginger. So when my son was growing up, and it's same when I was growing up. So when I was growing up, my grandfather, I think I was 8 the first time I shot a 410. I was 10 or 11 the first time I shot a shotgun. The first time I went hunting by myself, I was 11. And we all had respect for guns. I took my son out with his godfather when he was 9 and let him shoot his first pistol. And what we did is we set up watermelons and put hollow points in them so you could actually see what would happen if you shot somebody. It's really, when you see it for the first time, you're like, oh, it gives you an idea what a gun will really, really do. And then you teach them gun safety. And you can't have guns like the one that's sitting behind me on the desk back there, just laying around when there's kids around, because it doesn't have a built-in safety. Um, as far as all these things about let's lock your trigger, that's defeats the purpose of owning a gun. If you got to go dig it out of a safe or dig it out of a case and then unlock the trigger, you're dead. The robber done killed you and then stole your stuff because you just got it out the safe and opened your safe for him. You did. It's not what guns are for. Guns are for immediate boom, 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 and you're done.
You can
Um,
secure a gun in a house with children. I did it,
oh
and
yeah, no, you can, but I didn't have to because my kids, my grandkids, all of them, they know not to touch a gun. It's a thing they're
uh,
just not going to do. Um, they. And besides that, if they really want to handle it, they'll come ask me, and I'll pop the clip out or empty the clip and give them the gun. And let him see what it's about. And we do take him out and let him shoot. I see my son owns a Glock right now. I think he got a Glock 29. And I forgot which one he got, but almost everybody I know owns a gun, and they don't go. What's amazing is those guns mysteriously don't kill anybody. I know, isn't that like a miracle or something? I mean,
it's
they
also
just don't
amazing.
get off the thing and kill anybody.
It's also amazing that a group like the NRA is all about gun safety, so when people knock the NRA, they really don't understand the level of gun safety they're
And
all
that's
about.
but that's why it's so easy to defeat those kind of people. Because they don't. And when you sit down and explain, oh no, well, let me show you what the NRA was doing last month, and they're like, oh no, that's not true. Well, no, that is true. You can go see it for yourself. That's really the problem. I mean, the media is so one sided now; it's getting to be a joke. But like we were talking earlier before the show, CNN. Okay, guys, we're going to see how this works for CNN. CNN is looking to make a switch. They're getting rid of some of their really, 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 really crazy liberals, and they're going to bring on some. I wouldn't call them centralists, but they'll be close to the center, and they might even try to slip in a conservative too in there, because CNN's dead. I mean, as far as the network goes, I don't even know what's. I don't even, frankly, I don't even know what's keeping it afloat. It's last and everything.
Money.
Uh, and NBC can go back and forth, but Fox just kicks all their asses. So think about it. Today, in the old days, this isn't how it was, but today there are 7 major liberal networks. There's only really 3 conservatives, and only one of them's giant, and that's Fox. But
Yeah,
somehow another Fox manages to whip all of their asses, all of them. So how do they do that? I
yeah,
mean,
because they're the only one.
yeah,
You
because
know what I mean?
yeah,
Like that. If you're conservative, that's what you have to
but
watch.
that
More than
shows you
likely,
how many conservatives there really are, or how many people swing in those areas because they're watching those shows and those news shows, and they're just killing everybody. So liberals talk a big talk, but I've been noticing their numbers have been dwindling more and more. I think that's why they've been getting crazier and crazier.
but people want middle of the road. They don't want this right left being forced all these opinions on them. They just want to know what's happening, the middle of the road approach, and you go from there and let people form their own opinions. Let them have their own, But why poison their minds? Just for profit, for their ad space, for the crap they sell. So and I see, like, if I watch Fox, all the commercials irritate me. That My Pillow guy is on there. He irritates me.
There is something about in all fairness, he's got great pillows, great robes, and great
Oh,
stuff.
no, man! I bought
But
his pillows. My mom got me
something,
his pillows a few years ago for
something's
Christmas.
creepy about
They
it.
were horrible,
Oh,
and
you must not got the. I'm telling you, the ones I got are getting
they're the same
fabulous.
ones. They're the same ones, and
No,
it
there's like
happened
4 different versions of his pillows
when
you
I
can
when
get.
I washed them. They got a funky smell. I didn't even use. I followed the directions the whole bit. Then I called them and I'm like, your pillows are funky now. And they're like, well, there's nothing we could do about it and whatever. I'm like, all right, whatever, man. But it turns out the guy was a notorious crackhead, and maybe he's saved now. He found Jesus and whatever he found, and he's not such a crackhead anymore, whatever he is, man. But the reality is, you have to have the mentality to become a crackhead. Right now we're getting into addiction, aren't we? And these cards out about fentanyl and about heroin and telling people how to do the stuff and what not to do, like instructions on how to do these hard drugs. Some states legalizing very hard drugs like heroin. So we're in a weird world of green lighting everything with a knee jerk reaction, but it's not helping anybody. Not the addicts, not anyone. And you have to choose to do these drugs. Man.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
have
maybe
to
some
choose to
people
do it.
get snagged in. They're sitting there partying with their friends. I don't know anybody who parties with their friends and shoots up heroin. I've never even heard of that. So there's a thing there. There's a thing where you have to choose that. It's a mentality like the My Pillow crackhead guy.
I know. He's there's something about the guy. I know he has changed his life. I did some research on him. He really seems like he's turned into a really good guy, and really he gives a lot of money away. More than third of what he makes, he gives away to charities. That's better than the
Yeah,
business people I know
right
out there.
wing charities, man. That whole thing with Trump with him was weird. That was the kiss of death, is him going messing around at the White House.
I know, but he's still doing well, and I mean, every now and then when I'm flipping, but you know what? I have never heard him ever on a liberal network anywhere,
He was
ever.
encouraging martial law when that whole thing with Pence was going down. This is the My Pillow crackhead guy who's in the White House encouraging martial law. There's just I don't know. There's so many things wrong with that. I don't even know where to start. But I'm glad that they're not. He's not there. Nobody's there. The guy in the White House now
Dude,
is a
I
senile
gotta
old
say, I
man.
gotta
A
say,
senile old man in charge of nuclear missiles. That's where we're at.
dim $150 slippers are like walking on air, buddy. Of course, I only paid $40 for them, but still, it's they're nice. I ain't gonna lie. It's
Does he call
one
them crack slippers, man? Like
they might. I don't know. Reese. If I don't want to plug him, but just go to their sites and you can just what he does is he has like 5 levels of everything. He's just covering everybody. So in case you don't have this amount of money or that amount of money or this amount of money, that's just how he does it.
it's called class war. That's what it is.
But yeah, so like the road might be 50 count, and if you buy a high expensive one, it might be like 1,000 count, things like that. Yeah, but yeah, if that's what you want. Actually, we're not getting into that. Sorry, move along.
Why does he focus on that Giza cotton, man, from Africa?
Man, because
What's
that's
wrong with
good
America?
stuff, man. Because
What's
that's
wrong with
good, man. Screw
American
that.
cotton? Come
No,
on.
man, that ain't as good. I'm sorry. Look, American guys, I love y'all's
He
cotton. It's
is
great. It's soft.
anti-American.
American
Anti-American
cotton.
crackhead.
Listen,
Crackhead.
listen. American cotton is good for drawers. Giza cotton is good for sleeping on. That's the
If it's good for
difference.
drawers, it's good for anything
No,
else
it's not
too.
good for sleeping on. It's too
If
hot.
it's gonna rub against your royal jewels, it's good for anything. It's
No,
good for
that's not
everything.
true. That's not how that works. We're gonna have to lock Mike down, guys. I'm sorry. We're gonna put him on lockdown. Speaking of lockdowns, a good way to segue. Oh, good way to segue into COVID. So this okay. Mike and I talked about COVID a lot. Mike, because Mike did a lot of tracking for COVID, and no, as a job, doofus. Who said that? No, as a job he did it. Just assholes. It's so anyway. All of a
I
sudden, I'm
track.
riding home today. Da 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 da. CDC's already wanting to shoot up our little kids. Now they just said Moderna the other day swells your heart, but now we're going to give it to our kids. I'm really confused about that. But getting back to COVID, there's so the CDC came out and said because of all of these vaccines, we have now created a super COVID that's going to be 10 times more infectious than anything we have. And we're not sure how virulent it's going to be as far as what kind of harm it does to us, but they do expect more long, long COVID symptoms from this variety.
And Marvel Comics announced they have a new superhero called Super COVID, man.
Super
And
COVID,
they're
man.
it looks like there's a big ball with protein spikes sticking out of it, and it's going to roll along over everybody
Well,
else.
well, no, none of this surprises me. It's just the timing. So COVID is a very interesting disease. Somehow it can time itself. So it's going to come in August, September, and October. So you know what that means. That means mail-in ballots for November's voting.
there
Yeah.
you
If
go.
if I'm telling you now, if the Democrats try to pull mail-in balloting, there may be a revolution in the
Well, there's surges that happen
country.
of course, I was a case investigator with the
Yeah.
DOH and with COVID-19 surveillance unit,
Department of
right?
Homeland.
So, and I did that since 2020. So there, when it comes down to it, there's a surge, right? Surges happen. There's a surge going on now. The surge is less severe than it used to be, but at the same time, we're looking at a virus that's always mutating and changing, and theoretically, it could go worse, or it could become inert. So right now it seems like it's struggling, but there's in Omicron there's the sisters B1, B2, B3, B4, and B5. Now B1 and B2 were the ones who were around. Now B5 is taken over, and B4 is kind of following suit. So it's complicated, and then the surges kind of go in flux of holidays. It goes in flux of winter, cold air coming through. Where it thrives better. So I mean, it's not going to go away so easily, but it may fade away. But then you get this monkeypox, man. Monkeypox, man.
Monkeypox. I,
Monkeypox supposedly spread only through homosexual sex, but
yeah,
that
we're gonna find.
that
Yeah,
sounds a bit out there. Probably through any kind of
that's what they
sex.
said about AIDS too.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's so yeah, I'll mention that real quick tonight. So I love once we start doing news again because people start sending me articles. I love that. So Senator Collins, U.S. Senator, introduces all-American flag. Now this shouldn't even had to be something that we had to do. So this act is so that we buy all of our everything that makes our flags and everywhere they're made is only in the USA. All the material, everything comes from the USA. That should have been a given. So you know where most of our flags have been coming for the last like 8, 9 years, right? China. So when you were buying your red, white, and blue flag at Lowe's or Home Depot, it was coming from China.
So Joe, would you buy the nice Giza flag made with
Yes, I
that
would
Giza
wrap
fabric,
myself
or
up in that
do you
baby
want
and
that old
pose in it.
fashioned
Yeah, you know it,
Georgia
man.
cotton?
No, man, I want the good cotton, man. I want to wrap myself in. I felt the difference between the two. They're nice.
So when you
Uh,
rub yourself
you know,
against
you
the
know what it
flag,
really is. You know why? You
loving
know
the flag,
why?
you want it to be
You know
soft.
why? Since we're on this, we're getting back to the news in a minute, people. But since we're on the Giza thing, you know why everybody likes the Giza cotton? Because it's airy and light. You don't sweat on it. You don't get hot. So you can wrap yourself up, and it's all cozy and soft and airy. It's one of the things people like about it. Regular cotton, like U.S. cotton, is a denser cotton, so it makes you sweat. So people don't, they prefer the airy stuff of the
I
bed.
think the U.S. cotton industry is going to come after you, man.
Mhm.
Especially you're a Southerner. That you're like the face of cotton. You know what I mean? New Orleans.
I can't anymore. I can't sing the land of Dixie anymore. They'll kick me off the air.
New
You
Orleans
know
in the
what? I'm going to go
summertime,
find
that's
that
like getting
song.
a hot blanket thrown on you.
That's it. I'm going to find that song. We're going to play that song in this show tonight. Yes, people, we're going to play the Land of Cotton in this show later on tonight.
Do, do,
Yes,
do,
I'll
do,
offend
do,
all
do,
kind of people.
do,
What the hell
do.
I care. Um, Again with the Ukraine. No, we'll talk about the Ukraine, but there's nothing really going on. I mean, it's push shove back and forth,
It's
back and forth.
boring. I'm already
It's
bored with it.
Russia's not really going anywhere now. Oh, I will say this. Now, this was interesting. The Russian news. We have 2 U.S. people that have been missing. Nobody could find them, and it seems like the Russians may have them. See, Russia could have watched it. Now, chunky, funky Biden probably won't do anything. But if a stronger president gets in and they still got him, we might get into it over that. We don't like people taking our citizens. We're touchy feely crazy about that kind of stuff.
In publicity terms, though, with the Ukraine, they're not keeping people's interest, man, for entertainment. I mean, it's hard to say because there's a war and people are dying and it's terrible, But there's if there's no gains and there's no real, pushback, it's just going to keep going on and on and on until I think somebody internally in Russia has to stop it. If Putin goes to the wayside and the Russians say enough of
Well,
this, because their economy, like everybody's, is suffering. Theirs more than anybody.
I
And
figure in
we
a year and a
our
half,
gas
Putin will be
prices are
gone.
high, but when you look at Europe and see what they're paying for fuel, I mean, it's like wow, we can't really complain,
Oh,
because
I'm
it's
glad you
it's
said
it's
that.
bad, but it's really
No, I'm
bad
glad you
over
said
there.
that. So Biden got schooled by the oil companies. So he's there because they're boasting record profits. He said, "Mr. Biden, we're not actually drilling the oil right now. We're buying the oil from the Saudis and anywhere we can buy independent oil. Anywhere we can get it, we're buying it. We're just refining it. We're not actually drilling it." He said, "So we're paying a buck, 120, $125 a barrel. Of course, that translates to you. Our profit margin is always the same." He said, "Maybe you should educate yourself on how it actually works." Obviously, Biden had no idea that we weren't even drilling in the country right now because there's no reason at these prices. They don't need to. They're making too much money doing it like this. So when if they trim it, they'll go back to drilling because it improves their profit margins. But why bother right now when they can just buy it from the Saudis or buy it from whoever they want? It's going to be the same price anywhere you go. So they just can't buy it from the Russians. That's all. Summer born, mail-in ballots are legal. You can tell you can't tell Americans they can't vote even if they live overseas. I agree with that. I don't have a problem with mail-in voting but I don't think that everybody should be allowed to. In other words, if you live overseas, yes. If you're elderly and you can't get there, yes. But if you're a normal American citizen, you should be required to go vote in public and show your ID because mail-in voting promotes cheating. There's no real check system for it.
I have to
The
show my
Democrats
ID.
don't want to put one in there.
I have to show my ID to buy a Bic lighter.
You got to show your
So
ID for everything except a vote.
I
I'll
mean,
never
and
understand
voting
that.
is actually supposed to be a private and secure type of thing,
Mhm.
and you don't want people voting in other people's names, and also, of course, you don't want corruption or any kind of distortion.
And every
But
year there's 10 to 60,000 dead people that vote between Chicago and New York. No, those are Democrats. Actually, both sides have been caught cheating. If whoever sent that to me, Republicans got caught cheating. Both sides have been caught cheating. Lately, in both Obama's elections and this past election with Trump, has been cheating by the Democrats. Yeah, they proved Pittsburgh was a cheat. Actually, there was 4 states that actually brought it up, but this was Trump's doing, by the way. He said, I don't care. He said, I don't want to do 2 years. He said, I want my whole 4 years. His words, not mine. So he didn't really want to push the issue because he wants to come back. Trump thinks he can come back and win, and maybe with DeSantis as a VP, or bring DeSantis in as he's leaving, and then the Democrats and the Republicans will rule for 12 years, and maybe they can change the country and turn it around.
it's a bad idea.
And it's better than having the Democrats running for 12
You
years.
need another Republican. He's too polarized, and I think he would be ineffectual at this point. There's just too much out there. I mean,
Mm,
you need somebody
I don't. I don't think. I
who's
think.
lower key.
I got to be
Look
honest. I think he's less polarized now than when he was in the first
look at this
election.
one who won in Texas, man. She's Latina. You know what I mean? And that group has always voted in that town, always voted Democrat. Now she's a Republican. You
Yes,
know,
but as the Latinos just said, if they're going to vote for anybody in this election, it's going to be for Trump. I mean, like 51% of them said they're going to vote for
but
Trump
I'm
in this
saying
election.
that the Latinos in America are going Republican. They're
Yeah, big
pointing
time
that
too.
direction. They're family oriented people. They're hard workers. There's a lot. I mean, I think that they don't get enough credit. Latinos in general. I mean,
Well, yeah,
like they're
you were talking about the Latino woman who won in the seat that the Republicans hadn't won in almost 100 years.
right.
That was a great win. Yeah, that was a great win.
And it was a landslide for
It
her.
was, and it was just a great win. But you're going to see more and more of that. The country's just tired of,
The
you know what it is?
Republicans
They're
need
tired of
more
the
and more of that.
squad. They're
The
tired of the
Republican
squad.
Party needs to diversify in a way where they support all communities and not close their doors to others. I mean, the Democrats, the only thing they do is speak to the group. They compartmentalize and create groups, and then they start funding things for those groups. But that's not really the core value of this country. So So
Yeah,
other
well,
people get excluded when you start doing that.
the Democrats have so much trouble. But we talked about this, and even when Stephanie and I were doing news on the flip side, we were talking to Democrats are on their way down because when you embrace people like Almar and Omar and AOC, you're endorsing Fruit Loops. I mean, Omar hates. She's. I don't even know how she's got still in Congress for what she said about Israel and the Jews. She should have already been out of Congress. If anybody, even another Democrat, would have said that kind of stuff, they'd have been out of Congress.
Right.
But for some reason, because she's a Muslim, you're not going to go after her. That's see,
It doesn't matter.
and you know what else has hurt the Democrats? They have started putting people in place based on color, which first off is illegal, and secondly, the country's like, wait a minute, like the one who replaced the redhead. All right, look, this you could have definitely found someone better than this person to do this job.
She's pretty cute though, man. I like her little hair. I like the way I like her.
Hey, I didn't know you swung that way, man.
You
Damn,
know something. I think that
Michael, I didn't know you swung that way.
I think that she has a tough job. She's
You
not a
know,
robot like the last one. She
but
actually
you
can
know, it's a
laugh and have a good
transvestite,
time.
right? You know, it's a
What's that?
transvestite. You know, she's a transvestite, right?
Is she?
Yes. I just thought
I
I'd
can't.
tell you ahead of time if you had
I
too big of
can't
a
tell
crush.
anymore. You're talking about the spokesperson.
Yes, the black chick. Yeah.
I'll buy her a cup of coffee, man.
Oh my God, man! I knew something was wrong with him, lady. Now I see what's going
We'll have
on.
a conversation.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Uh, no, it doesn't matter as far as her job or politics. No, it doesn't matter what her sex is. We don't care about that. I was talking about Michael was saying some stuff about her other than work related stuff. Yes, y'all, you can't hate, man. We
I
don't
like
hate on
Kamala
anybody.
Harris too. Is she a transvestite?
Oh, Kamala. No, Kamala was a prostitute. I mean,
Oh
come
my
on.
God.
Oh no,
You
no,
know
people.
what?
I'm not lying. Camilla was a prostitute. How she went from being a prostitute to district attorney of California. She must have got some really good secrets on some people over the years. Is all I could say. And then she got to be VP. This girl must have secrets on all sorts of people. Most of them probably Democrats too, since that's where she's at. What do you mean, Hillary?
I never heard that she was.
Wait. So you want Hillary Clinton to run in this election?
Is she a transvestite too?
She probably is. She probably put one on for what's her name? What's her Cheryl Mills, her lover? Oh no, not Cheryl Mills. What's her name? Wiener's wife. Huma Dean. Huma Dean. Yeah.
Uma.
Huma. Yes. Huma's hot, man. She's
Uma's
Persian. She's
hot too,
hot.
but she's also a transvestite.
Yes. Well, for Hillary, she is. So, no, we do satire with the news. I'm sorry, but Hillary's whacked. We can't help it. I didn't make her whacked. Michael didn't make her whacked. Bill made her whacked, or she made Bill whacked. I'm not sure who made who whacked in that group, but when she was all like sweet and innocent, and she went to work for Richard Nixon, then she turned on him and tried to stab him in the back, and then she married Bill, and Bill screwed around on her more times than I can even remember. I think 9 cases came out before the election. Oh no, these were all willing people. He wasn't molesting anybody, raping anybody. These were all ugly, scary looking women. He had a thing for scary women.
His voracious appetite for women. He's a womanizer, man. You know.
Opportunity is
But
what it was.
then
Yeah.
part of our society looks down on that these days. It'll swing back the other way. You know, everything does. So it's going to get away from all of these people being outraged, their fake outrage and whatever, and start understanding what really motivates human beings. You know, I don't know. I don't think Bill Clinton was a terrible person necessarily. I mean,
No, I like Bill. Bill
comparatively,
was a decent president. He
yeah.
took he took he took Reagan went crazy rebuilding the country and strengthening the country and bankrupting Russia. But by doing so, he put America on the edge. And so even though Reagan was a great president, Bill came in, somehow took that mess, turned it into a profit. The country, in case y'all didn't notice, under Bill Clinton, we were actually paying off our deficit. He wasn't accumulating debt; he was actually paying it off. As far as I
Oh
know,
yeah.
he's the first and last president, or at least the last president to do it.
There was a
Um,
surplus
no,
by the end
Obama,
of his days.
Obama spent more money than all the presidents combined. Think about Obama. He spent more than all the presidents combined. Did you know he had 162 mass shootings? That's more than all the presidents combined 4 times. It's ridiculous. 3 times. I'm sorry. It's yeah. I mean, it goes back to when we were talking about mass shootings under powerful presidents and strong presidents. They don't happen near as much. Under
Bill
weak presidents, they happen a lot. Bill Clinton
Bill
had
Clinton
23.
Bill Clinton never talked about America like he hated it, and Obama was the
Well, he didn't.
opposite.
He
He
loved it.
he
Obama, because Obama was a
chastised. You remember when he went after the factory workers because they were losing their jobs left and right, when there was the jobs were going out the window in his administration, millions a month at times. I mean, remember that it was like a
Yeah,
liquidation sale, and then they blamed it on the housing crisis and all of that. But you see where that went. It really came down to his policies and the things that they implemented. It wasn't Obama; it was the people who control him that just jumped out there with these policies. They're ready. They're always ready, aren't they? They're always ready to jump out with these policies. Like what's going on with Biden? These aren't his policies. He doesn't even know what the hell he's talking about. It's his people behind him. It's the agenda. It's the establishment agenda. Trump was anti-establishment. Bill Clinton was nearly anti-establishment because he kind of went by his own drumbeat. I mean, is he the best guy in the world? No, but he was a decent president, and by today's standards, he would be looked at like a Republican with his views. He was responsible for the crime bill in 1993, put 100,000 police officers on the streets. There wasn't any talk about, less cops. You see Adams in New York City. Now he wants to start splitting up patrols. So instead of a two-cop patrol, he wants to make it a one-cop patrol and then send them out there to the dogs because they're losing NYPD. They're resigning, and his budget can't hire anymore. It's a recipe for disaster, man. Disaster. You know.
yeah. It's all of this is a recipe for. Oh man, speaking of disaster, since you brought it up, I love you. You've been giving me good segues all night. So Putin did a speech. Man, he came unhinged. He was all over America in the EU. He said America's citizens are second class. The sanctions didn't work. Um, that America's the only one that thinks they have won. They haven't won. He just went on and on. Then he started on the EU. What was it? Putin declares the end of unipolar world and combative speech. He's I don't know. He's something else, man. As he gets closer to death, he's going to get more dangerous.
Did you hear that song and dance he did? That was
Which one?
crazy, man. He went, "We don't like Americans in the Ukraine." Putin on the Ritz. Putin on the Ritz. You heard that?
Lord, Putin on
We
the wrist.
don't like your meddling, giving them weapons. It's just a proxy war of arms dealers at this point. All the big arms dealer companies are making huge profits. Everybody's making profits but me. That's what the hell's going on?
At this point,
Oil
you got to
companies,
wonder
governments,
everything.
you see these governments raking in record taxes from the fuel. So all that money in fuel is going out. They're making that money in taxes, man. Record taxes.
Oh man, they've been picking our admirals. I meant to bring this up at the beginning of the show. So I caught an article yesterday, but our admirals have been picking on the Chinese's new aircraft carrier
Oh,
because
you see that
China's
thing?
yeah, China's been boasting on it was built with the latest
It's begging.
technology,
That thing's begging for a torpedo.
and
I
and they
saw
said
that
a
thing.
lot
I'm
of
like,
they,
you're
yeah, and
you're
they said
begging for a. It's automated. It's IA or AI. There you go.
yeah, they said it's got a lot of the same technologies, and they said all theirs works. We haven't even launched a plane off it yet, so we'll wait and see how that works out
We'll
for
wait and see the hackers who hack into that thing and start controlling it and drive it away. Yeah,
you.
that'd be funny as hell. Just saying.
So, but
Just saying.
they're going to go park it over there by Taiwan, is what they're saying.
Oh yeah.
Dude, this it usually takes 2 or 3 years, sometimes 4 years for a carrier to shake out.
They're
And
not going to be able to use it, man. You know what? It's gonna get mice. You leave things sitting for a while, they get mice.
they, China has the ability to outbuild us in the Navy if they really want to. Uh,
Ugh.
but they're
They
using the
don't have the
quality of their ships.
technology we have. They're not even anywhere close. They even admit that. They steal our stuff and they make it these inferior copies. They still have the Chinese mentality. So that communist mentality, the Chinese mentality, they're not. They're not productive like Japan, like especially like after the war, the Japanese went into full production mode. That's why Japanese things are really good.
Yeah,
If you have something
maybe we
made
should let Japan
from
build our next carrier.
if you have something made, you know what? It would be crazy. And in 24 hours, Japan could become a war machine like no one's ever seen before. But if it's made in Japan, it used to be. Remember, you made in Japan was crap. You didn't want it, but now made in Japan is like the best. You know, some of the finest things, depending. What your tastes are.
Oh shit! So I can't pronounce his admiral's name in American. He goes, He said, "Well, yeah, we'll just let the wolf pack hunt it." He said, "China's got the crappiest." He said, "Even India's subs better than China's." He said, "We'll just put the wolf pack." He said, "They won't even know what sunk it. They'll just be like they're dead, and that's the end of that, and we'll
That
just keep
thing will
on moving."
sink so funnily. You know what I mean? like here's your big carrier, here all the money, here it goes floating out there. All of a sudden, it's like wink.
I mean, we do have a lot of carriers, and we got a lot of good ones, but we have a lot of submarines. We have a lot of everything.
Yeah,
And that's what people say. Oh well, they'll just sink your carriers. I said, well, it's not as easy as you think it to get to a carrier. It's not just you can't just fly a missile in there. There's lots of things to intercept missiles, including other ships. It's just and planes and its own missile systems,
let's
and
just
it's
say it
not that
this way.
easy to sink one. With a
Let's
nuke, you
just
could might sink one, but you ain't gonna sink
let's
a
just say it
fucking
this
missile.
way. On average, we spend about $750 billion a year on the military. All these other countries, if you take the leading 13 other countries, Russia, China, all these other countries, they don't even end up coming even a little tiny percentage point to what we spend in our military. And we do it because we can. That's why we have the best stuff, man. And whatever they think they have, it doesn't really matter because ours like, yeah, you can have a great missile goes really fast or whatever. That's fine. You start looking into the technology that we have. It's pretty far off. We were lacking because Obama didn't invest any money in the military. They let planes fall apart. They let ships fall apart. They were they untrained people. There was a lot of accidents, Joe. There was like a lot of newly people coming out of the academy, but they didn't get the full training because they cut their money. But then Trump goes in there and he fixes everything, fixes all the planes, gets all that going, uses all that money from NATO, the new money he was making those countries pay, because that hasn't been reevaluated in a long time. It was good having a businessman in there
It
because that's
was.
kind of what it is. You need to be like Joe Biden's never made anything, sold anything, done anything. If you haven't grinded away in business, you have no head for running things. Or if you weren't formally trained as some kind of military commander, you know what I mean? But Trump knew his business. He was just you know a freak of nature, and they couldn't
Mm,
handle him. I didn't like hearing him anymore either. And he threw Pence under the bus. I didn't appreciate that stuff. And
they
I'm not
did.
I'm,
They
I'm
did.
not a card carrying Republican either, but right is right, wrong is wrong. Pence was there for him. It should have been different that day.
No, it should have been. But I don't know. So much stupid shit went on that day. I hate to really blame too many people because it was like a snowball effect. This one did that, that one did this, and they weren't really prepared for anything that they were doing. It just seemed to be like a snow. And both I said this earlier in the year before this all happened. Um, if Trump said they were going to cheat, they were going to cheat. Why weren't there more people at the polling stations? That's a simple fix.
Yeah, it could have
This
been
year there will
prevented.
be. This year, which the Democrats even said this is scaring them because they're going to make sure there's at least three of Republicans at every polling station this year.
Yeah, they could have had
They
better auditors for sure.
yeah.
You know,
But still,
it was Democratic shenanigans that shifted the tide, using things against Trump that really wasn't any of his doing. Even with the COVID stuff, he kind of he got his Operation Warp Speed, got the vaccines out there. And the Democrats thought they were going to take over, and it was smooth sailing, right? COVID going away, the
mhm.
numbers at that point were going down, sort of, you know, and but then there was another surge, and then that June the numbers were going way down. So they thought they were going to be able to kind of just sail along on the Trump policies, the tax cuts, all those things. But yet the other side of the
Biden
Democratic
just did
Party.
so many stupid things when he came in.
Oh
So
yeah, but the other
here,
side of the Democratic Party got involved, and then here comes all these programs and things that are supposed to help people, but they're not. They're programs designed to put money in the pockets of the people that supported the Democratic Party. Is basically bribery. I put that at bribery.
so
Projects that we don't need.
our enemies spend $350 billion a year combined on their militaries. Us and our allies spend over 1.5 trillion a year. U.S. is going to in 2020 spend 778 million. China spent 252 million. Russia spent
Billion.
72.9 million. So, I mean,
Uh,
and when you add in our allies like India,
billion.
the UK, yeah, billion. Saudi
Billion.
Arabia, Germany, France, Japan, South Korea. That's another. So it does. It comes out to about 1.4, 1.5 trillion dollars that the U.S. and its allies spend.
We
And
have
then, of course,
bases
our
all around
enemies,
the world.
which are considered China and Russia, spend 350 billion.
We're,
So
we
it's a
have
big
base,
difference. I mean, they're not spending a big chunk of money.
we have bases all around the world.
Scary.
We're in 3 to 5 minute strike time to any city, so you can have all the fast missiles you want with all the stuff. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get destroyed. It doesn't
Uh,
mean that complete destruction is on your doorstep all the time, constantly. You know,
Summer. Last time I checked, there was 11 regular carriers and 9 helicarriers, so 20 total. Well, yeah, most of the helicarriers belong to the Marines, and
just two.
there are some what we call they're like for the F-35s. They're what you call it. What the hell did they used to call them in the old days? The ones with vertical takeoff. Anyway, there's a couple of carriers that are just designed for jets that have vertical takeoff. It's Harrier carriers was what they used to call them. Yeah,
Yeah, the
and
jet jumpers. England call them jet jumpers. The Marines call them Harrier. But you know what? It really comes down to sensibility. And it's a shame that countries around the world invest trillions upon trillions into weapons of destruction, where it could be evolving education and promoting, like, anti-poverty around the world instead. And that's the hang up of mankind. I mean, there really is. Until mankind can get past that, it's never going to evolve and change, not for the better anyway.
yeah. Oh, wait, hold on. What this came from?
two
Oh,
of
well,
our
thank you,
nuclear
Mark.
Two of our nuclear submarines can destroy all of Europe, including Russia,
Okay,
in,
so
in,
here's the
in minutes.
breakdown. Yeah, here's the breakdown. Somebody just sent me this. So yeah, I was right. 11 regular carriers, 9 halos. France has 4. They have 1 aircraft carrier and 3 halos. Japan has 4 halo carriers, 2 which are being converted to light aircraft. China has 2. Italy has 2, and the United Kingdom has 2. Russia, they don't even consider having them anymore because they're in such disarray that they're not sure
Russia
if they would be useful.
Russia has a supply problem right now. It seems like. I mean, they got a problem with everything. Plus, the soldiers, a lot of them are going AWOL. They're leaving. I
Yeah.
mean, there's it. I think the longer it goes, the more they're not going to want to be part of it.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
the Ukrainians not going to be able to hold up forever unless
Oh
they
wait,
have.
yeah, we're going to talk about Ukraine. Just like, oh, there's also two halos from South Korea, one from India, one from Spain, and Russia has 1 carrier left to use. So
The
yeah,
Ukraine's not going to
I
be
would
able to
say the
continue.
rest of the world is outnumbered pretty serious if you
The
ask me.
Ukraine's not going to be able to continue until they get more sophisticated weapons. And they're being
Well,
trained
they might
on
not have to.
on
They
some
might not
stuff.
have to though. It. I was reading earlier today. So their application to the EU is looks like it may get approved. So
Ooh.
that's going to change things. If they become an EU member, then of course they EU can't let Russia beat up on them. And then of course
Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
EU's our ally. So if Russia starts beating up on EU, we can't let them happen. So and
Yeah.
of course China's Russia's ally. So can be a sticky wicky pretty fast.
World War
But the
Three.
problem is I don't think China wants to go to war. I don't really think Russia wants. After you look at the Ukraine, I don't think the Russians want to go to war.
After this financial mess, I don't think anybody wants to.
No, I don't think they do. And China can't even get its own supply chains running, much less anything else. And what happens? I mean, it's killing them financially not to have their supply chains running. And once people start making other venues, other ways to get their supplies, they're just going to cut China off completely. And I don't think Xi Jinping realized that.
Well, India is trying to step up to be the big
Yeah, not just
manufacturer.
India. Taiwan is,
Yeah,
Japan is, a bunch of countries are.
India has the
South
factories,
Korea,
but
yeah, and they want to take it over, and they will. And China will find itself only selling to Russia, Cuba, how many people in Cuba? 10. Venezuela. I mean, nobody has no money in Venezuela. I mean, uh, maybe some African countries, but you're not going to really. Out of the 200 countries, China might be able to wrangle 10, and none of them have the kind of money that our allies and us have. So you're in deep poops. I don't understand. And Xi Jinping's intelligence. I'm not sure why he's been making some of the moves he has, but maybe he's watched Russia now and he's backed up. He had to make a nasty speech the other day about the United States and Taiwan and going
well, it
through the
was his
straits.
birthday. It was
Yeah,
his
but
birthday.
but but we went. So immediately we didn't sail through it. One of our other friends sailed. I think it was Spain. One of the other countries sailed the carrier through and said, "Excuse me, what we're going right through there, buddy."
Yeah.
They were like, you ain't telling us we can't sail because America they called us personally on a sideline to tell us don't do it. There could be repercussions. And we told all of our allies, and our allies just gave them the bird and just sailed on through it. And then we sailed right through it a couple of days later. So you can't own the straits. China, we just don't going to let you have it, and we don't want you to have Taiwan. And we've been thinking about taking Hong Kong back. There's been a lot of talk about taking Hong Kong back
Man, that
because the
ain't gonna
people
happen.
are behind you in Hong Kong. See,
It wasn't us. It was the UK, but that ain't gonna happen, man.
no, they actually been talking to the United States because um, if Hong Kong starts a revolution in its thing and gets enough power to get broke away somewhat, the U.S. may get involved.
It's how
Uh,
China funnels a lot of funds into their accounts, man. Is
yeah,
is through Hong Kong because Hong
it's through
Kong was
Hong
so
Kong.
profitable. Still is
So, but
profitable.
even that they're ruining. I mean, Hong Kong was like the beacon city of the world for making money, and now it's not that fast because China. You can't trust China with secrets. They're in there stealing secrets left and right. I like China actually, guys. China. Do y'all know this? There's something interesting about China. China walled itself in and never went and invaded any other country but what was it? Mongolia, not Mongolia. Where the Dalai Lama lived. Yeah, that's it. They never tried to
Tibet.
invade Tibet. They never tried to invade any other country. They never invaded Russia when they could have went in the hordes. They didn't invade Mongolia. They didn't invade Europe. They didn't invade anybody. And they've been invaded at least 3 times. I, I don't think that for the Chinese want to be the shining. They want to be the America of the world. I understand that. And if they were a free nation, we would probably let them be the
They
next
always back
America.
the wrong side, but we've been
They
fighting them in
do.
proxy for a long time, like in Korea.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go through all the wars, as a matter of fact, in China, back to those countries that we had odds with. So
So Kim Jong Un, Trump must have loved this. Kim Jong Un said he's not scared of Biden. There's nothing to be scared of there. He said he knows he doesn't have the courage to do anything. And in the speech, Trump's name actually came up. Trump must have loved it because he was putting Biden down all the way. He didn't put Trump down at all. And he didn't really put Trump down when he was president, when Trump was president. Because Trump, you never know. He
because
might have
Trump
just
was
said, you know what?
nuts.
Yeah,
You
because he
can't,
might
you,
have
you can't,
invaded.
you don't want to mess with somebody who's nuts, man. You know what I mean? Trump was nuts, and he's worse. He's like a billionaire who's nuts. Remember the whole thing with
Yeah, it is
Syria
summer.
when they had that dinner with Xi Jinping, and Syria's messing around, and they dropped chemical weapons on their own people, and we bombed the airport in Syria. So Trump gets up, leaves, comes back, and he's like, "Yeah, we just bombed the airstrip in Syria with chemical weapons." And Xi Jinping's like looking at him, and Trump's like, "How's the chocolate cake? It's great, isn't it? You want more?"
Well, that's what he did the night when he emptied that whole submarine's missile load on that damn
this
town.
dude, this dude went from blowing up an airport to house the chocolate cake, man. That's Crazyville right there. I love it.
No, that's what the media got onto when he blew up. He said he sent that submarine over there. He unloaded every I think it was 140 cruise missiles on that sub. He unloaded them on whatever this target was, and he sat down and had dinner while he talked with the reporters. He's a scary bastard. He's like Reagan. He's scary. He's not going to put up with people down in the country or saying they're going to hurt us. It's just he actually loves his country, and which bothers me. It's always bothered me about Democrats. You live here too.
Mm.
Why
Yeah,
you
but
want to f
they
things up
hate
because you live here
themselves.
too?
They hate themselves. You know what? They blame themselves. They're self haters. I'm not talking about all Democrats either. By the way, I'm talking about
No, just a third of them.
about a good solid third, maybe even a half. That they're just self hating individuals, and they want to suffer. They want to suffer, and they want other people to
And that's
suffer.
fine. Go get in your apartment and suffer, but leave the rest of us alone.
Exactly.
I mean, come
Go,
to shit on.
go and suffer. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Move
I
to
mean,
Russia.
that's the deal. But they want everybody else to suffer. One of my friends who lives abroad in a country that's not so free asked me what the best definition of freedom is in America. I said being able to make your own choices. And that doesn't mean people telling you stuff, telling you what to do, what to say, how to act, what to wear, all this other stuff. It's become very intrusive now, and also people are kind of hooked on pride, and pride is an illusion. Pride. You can have pride in yourself, and you're a great father. You take care of your kids. You do the great thing. You're a great mother, whatever you are, and you excel at things you do because that's the person that you are. But pride in groups is bad because it separates those groups. You know what I mean? White pride, black pride, this pride, that pride. And it just it separates
So,
people. It
but
takes
that's a
people
good point
apart.
because that's going to make a problem probably 50, 100 years when the populations get more equalized. Because right now, I got a friend of mine who's been what they do is they hire these people, and they go out and they go to different businesses, white business, black business, Hispanic business, and see what the ratio of businesses for hiring other races. Well, in New Orleans, 98% of the black businesses had no one working there but black people. So he went to a few other states. He went up to Detroit. He went up to Chicago. He went up to New York. It was the same thing. And he did it with the Hispanics. Hispanics was more like 60-40. With the whites, it was 60-40 the other way. So it's going to cause a problem because sooner or later, once affirmative action goes away, there will be lawsuit. Like BETV will instantly get sued. Anything with names like that, because you can't do it in any other race, so it'll just become lawsuit heaven.
The way the left depicts black
And
people in America
that's why they do that.
is so perverted and obscure. And they
It
act
is.
like okay, they're black and they commit crimes and you let it go. Most of the black people out there aren't part of that group, and they don't want to be part of that group. And over 90% of black crime is black on black crime. So when they take these criminals and release them back into these neighborhoods, they're releasing them to people who are just trying to live their lives.
And
You know what I
that's
mean?
how it
So
works. Yeah.
they're criminals. It has nothing to do with black or white or whatever. They're criminals. You lock them up because they're
Well,
criminals.
well, I'll tell you what. If places like New York and Detroit and Chicago and LA will take a lesson from the South, they can change that, because by getting rid of the ghettos and normalizing the neighborhoods and forcing people to move into other neighborhoods, it's one of the things that was nice about
Well,
Katrina.
you guys had a disaster. That's
But
what
yeah,
you had.
but after that, some of the other cities down here followed suit and started
Uh,
tearing them down. So what they did is they tore them down, and when they rebuild them, they build certain kind of condos. They're really nice, but they only build half as many. So everybody else has to go live in other apartment complexes in other neighborhoods. So they diversify the neighborhoods that way. So once kids get used to living a certain way, they don't want to go back to the ghetto ever,
right,
and they don't want their kids to go to the ghetto. So it changes the whole society.
right.
But for some reason, cities like Chicago and Detroit and New York refuse. And I can understand New
Not for
York. I
some
mean,
reason. The ghettos were assembled to have people fail. They were
that's
built.
exactly what they're for.
And who's the one? Who are the ones who control those ghettos? Who are the politicians
The
who control
Democrats.
them? They're all blue balls, aren't they? They're all
Yeah.
Democrats. So they don't really have an understanding. Those Democrats, they don't care. Charles Rangel, people like that from New York City.
Yeah.
He's such a corrupt guy. Has so many laws. Like they went after him, they arrested him, all this other stuff, and he kind of just laughs at the system. This is why they don't have proper representation. AOC is in charge of a huge part of the Bronx. Those people suffer in her area. She's not doing anything for them.
No,
She's
because she
out
can
there
even
trying to
care.
build
This is all
railroads to
like a
England.
little kiddie thing for her. And the scary part is, in not this election, but next, she can run for president.
But there's people who are suffering in her district that need her help. Not the BS behind it. She needs to help the people there. Those people need jobs. They need access to better things, better health care, better everything, as a matter of fact. And yeah, you tear down the ghettos, man. Tear them down and have people start living decent lives in safe neighborhoods. That the people who live in those neighborhoods afford the same safety as someone who lives in East Hampton, who's got the big spread and all that, or any kind of high zip code. Even my old town of Rockville Center, Long Island. The people need that level of safety. They deserve it, man. The
Yeah,
safety
they do.
shouldn't be a level of how much you can pay. Safety should be a level of you're
And that's
here.
the other
We're going
thing
to
when
make you
you
safe
when
to
you listen
protect
to
and
liberals
serve.
talk. Every liberal in Congress lives in behind closed gates. None of them live out in the neighborhood. Even though some of the Supreme Courts just live in regular neighborhoods, all the Democrats live in gated
I don't
communities.
know about regular neighborhood. Those houses cost millions of dollars. I mean,
Well,
these
yeah, but they're
people,
not gated neighborhood, is what I mean.
but these people are extremely wealthy. Yeah, I don't get the whole picketing on the sidewalk thing.
I tell you what, I'm surprised we didn't see something like we did out in where was it, California, when the guy and his wife came out with the guns, and eventually they got out of trouble, even got their guns back. It's
With guns.
yeah,
Yeah,
they
but
came out. You don't remember that when they came out and they
yeah, I
started?
remember that. But when I was a kid, especially a young teenager, it would be like, hey, let's get our BB guns and clear the street. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know anybody who's going to walk around banging a drum if you're getting hit with a BB gun, and it's not like a gun. It's,
Actually, guys, we learned this a long time ago. You want to clear a street, you don't need guns or anything. We keep these around. They're called RC
we
100s.
used to shoot each other with BB guns for fun, man. It
Well,
was, it was,
these are
it
100
was
shot
we did.
Roman candles. You just light it and just start walking. These things,
We used
man,
to
you'll clear a
shoot
street like you
fireworks
wouldn't
at each
believe.
other. We would take
Yeah, yeah.
PCV pipe and put bottle rockets in there and light the whole thing up and have like rocket wars, and like that's the thing. When we were young, we had fun. Even if you got a little singed or something, man, you still had fun. These days, the kids can't have fun anymore. They got to be bubble wrapped in plastic, and they're not allowed to
Yeah,
do
only
anything.
if they're
Remember,
liberal
remember
kids.
the lawn darts back in the day with the big metal spike and that, and you
Just,
had to
just liberal
toss it.
kids. It's just really liberal kids. Everybody else is having fun. I watch kids blowing each other up, having bottle rocket wars and stuff. I mean, we used to put helmets on with face masks and go out and have
Well,
BB
now
wars and all
those
kind of
those
shit.
kids are shooting each other with 9 millimeters. Man, that's not fun. That
Yeah,
ain't
you
fun.
know. Well, you know what? When it comes to that, I notice it's not really a liberal or a conservative thing. It seems to be equally crazy kids there.
Well, all these shooters,
But I have
as
noticed that it does have a lot to do with who's leading the country.
all of these shooters have severe mental problems. All of them, and not one of them should have had a gun or access to a gun. That shooter that was from Conklin that went up to Buffalo and shot those people at Tops. I mean, that guy was mentally retarded. He had a lot of problems. He was in special school and all this other stuff, and he didn't work and whatever. I don't know how he got $1,000 to buy an AR-15 and all those rounds of ammo, a couple grand. But you know what? He should have never had a gun, and his parents known he was a ticking time bomb. If
Mm.
you don't give people who are developing disabled a gun, there's just some stuff you don't do. That's one of those things that you don't do. You know, and they
Uh,
have to act responsibly. When I had my first gun when I was around 8 years old, it was a 22 Springfield bolt action single shot. And I was taught how to use that gun, and I acted responsibly with it. And nobody goes on school shootings back in the day. Now it's a different mentality. Now they got the video games, it desensitizes people. There's a big debate on this, that, and whatever. I don't care. Those games, children shouldn't play those games. Teenagers, sure, let them do it. Older people, when their minds are developed, it's different than when they're developing and what they get desensitized to.
well, there's a lot
In
of
my in my
desensitization going on.
humble opinion.
It's oh man, I just got a story for CNN about
And I played video games, man. You know what? But my video games
video
was
games don't cause you to kill
was
anybody. If that was true, then we'd be killing people by the billions.
my video games
But what they
was the
do is
dude
help all of our
was a
our
guy
drone
named
controllers.
Mario who jumped on mushrooms. You know what I mean? That was my game. So a
Well, I
Donkey
played a lot
Kong.
more than just Mario, but it's funny to me. It's funny to me that all of our grandkids, my grandkids, my kids all grew up with guns. None of their guns go around killing people. Wow, isn't that weird, huh? Um, Martha
But
sitting right there.
see,
Look at Martha. Look at Martha.
but look at Grand
Martha ain't
Theft Auto.
bothering anybody. Martha's just sitting there
Grand,
bothering her own self. And no,
Grand
just because there's a skull there, don't worry.
the video game Grand Theft Auto, man. I remember playing it, and it was a lot of fun. But I played it as an adult, not a child. Would I let a child play the game? No. And when I was raising a couple kids, they weren't allowed to play any of that stuff. They weren't even allowed to watch Family Guy, and or any of these cartoons that are made for adults, not for children. The content is just not acceptable for children. But
So
that's the parent. But now they have they got cell phones. As soon as they had cell phones, it was a kiss of death. And I tried keeping cell phones out of their hands for a long time, and I lost the battle when they were 12. And then even the cell phones that they had at that point were basically my old cell phones, of like the buttons and the flip phone and that type of thing. But then
don't
they
be shooting your
got the
TV.
iPhones. They got the iPhones that brought them into an adult world. I remember going to battle with the school because all these kids on the bus were watching porno on their cell phones, and became an epidemic. And they get rushed into an adult world so fast. You know what I mean? So it's just a lot of mixed messages and bad messages out there.
Did it?
But it's lack of parental supervision and responsibility.
So
Ah,
let's change gears for a few minutes. I want to talk about Shanghai opening back up now. One of CNN's reporters got trapped there. They're saying this was the most horrific experience they've ever had. There were color coded beds and color coded this, and they moved you from area to area, and everything was seriously locked down. So China expects to lose half the population of Shanghai as it opens back up because they're going to haul ass to somewhere else.
they're leaving town.
They're leaving town. They don't want to get locked down again. That's why, because it's hard to lock down the country, but it's not so
They're
hard to
still
lock down
having a
the
huge
city.
problem with COVID-19. A huge
Yeah,
problem.
well, China's
They
got the
don't
zero
they
the
don't want
zero
to admit
policy
it.
thing. Yeah, they said they want to do zero COVID, zero policy, and they're not opening their country till. Well, good luck with that. I think you're just gonna have to do like everybody else in the world. Just gonna have to learn to live with it.
What's the next virus that's coming? You know,
Okay,
no, I'm
so
not talking about monkeypox.
so
They're
you're
they're changing the name of monkeypox because they said that it's racist towards Africa. You know how many monkeys are in South America and Central America, man?
There's
You
a
don't know
lot.
how many? So I don't
There's a
get how you
lot.
say it's racist to Africa. People are just looking for stuff. They're looking for stuff,
Yeah, because
and
there's a
other
lot.
people are
Well,
getting
you
burned
got
out.
bad. We got all kind of stuff in South
I'm
America.
getting
So,
burned out on the racism word. I'm getting burned out on
but
this
most of the
bullshit because
countries,
there's actually
only
people
people
who
who want to use it
experience,
for their own advantage use it
but there's
anymore. Everybody
actually
else is
people
like,
who
whatever.
experience racism, and it's being belittled and stomped on, with all this other fake outrage.
Hmm.
So you need to have a balancing point, man.
Oh, look at DeSantos said he is not going to force the kids in his state under 5 to take the vaccine. He's not going to provide, and he's not. He said, if you want it, you can get it, but we're not going to provide it for you.
But
Well, he's like everybody else, man. With these 4 and 5 shots, I have not. Every doctor I've talked to said the same thing. 1 or 2 vaccines is one thing. 4 or 5 times a year with a vaccine is just playing Russian
I
roulette.
got I got a news flash. Since the government stopped paying for the vaccines, they're not really manufacturing as many. There's shortages out there because these vaccines also have an expiration date.
Yeah,
So they have to throw millions and millions of dollars worth away. $35 a shot. And we taxpayers paid for millions upon millions. There's bold faced stealing going on in there, and you know it. In where was it? In Maryland, in Baltimore, one of the manufacturing facilities, big pharma, right? They had what was it, 30 million vials go bad through this whole time, sitting on the docks, not being refrigerated, whatever they need to do. How many millions? $35 a shot. Think about that. Think about the millions, billions that got thrown out the window. And here we are paying all this money for gas, and our food's becoming out of reach, and all these things are happening because of the mismanagement of this government, man. And it's not just this one, it's the overall culture of corruption within the system that needs to change. And you need honest people to change it.
but you're not going to get that right now. You'd have to fire everybody in Congress. Everybody in D.C. would have to be
There's good
removed.
people out there. They just are not
Yeah,
accessible. You ever hear Harold
because
Ford?
they don't want to be in Congress.
Do you know Harold Ford, man?
Yeah, or no Ford.
Yeah, he's a dude on he's on Fox now as one of their whatever interviewers and whatever, on air hosts. But I like him. I like his politics. I always thought he would have been a great president. He's very level minded, and that's what the Democratic Party needs. That's what all these parties need. They need a connection of both sides of people. There shouldn't be any sides. There shouldn't be any sides, man. We need to be on our own side.
Well, we do, but see, that doesn't make any money for anybody. So
It doesn't. It doesn't because they like to divide people, getting them hating on each other, and that's how they make their money. They throw you a bone. They throw you a bone. They don't care how you're living. They don't care what kind of pain you're going through. They don't care what you're suffering. They don't care. They don't care. All you Biden can say is, "Oh, God willing, it gets better." There's a leader for you. God
no,
willing.
he don't want to get it better. I see Trump steadily picking on Pence,
He
man.
doesn't
Trump,
want to get better because he doesn't put gas in his own car. He doesn't have to worry about paying his light bill or having a place to live. You know what I mean? Or having food to eat or being able to feed his children or put
oh,
clothes on.
you're gonna love this.
He
So,
showers with his daughter, but he doesn't have to worry about putting food in their mouths, does he? He has nothing to worry about. He's a guy who's how many years? 8 years past his expiration date. He's a dude who's on his way out, like Putin.
so,
And
so,
that's why Putin's so dangerous right now
yeah,
because
that's why it's so dangerous
he
because he's on his
he's
way out.
dying of cancer. He's on his way out. He's out of his mind completely, and he's capable of anything. That's freaking scary.
I got to tell you this. You're gonna love this. This is CNN too, which is even scarier. They're saying they expect Republicans to take 70 seats in the House.
Oh yeah, man.
So if they're thinking 70, it may be more than that. So look, oh my God, that's a majority. That's a super
That's
majority.
that's why they're
They
applying
can they can
themselves.
impeach. So that means if they can just get 12 or 14 seats in the Senate, they can impeach and don't need anybody. Nobody can stop them. This could be interesting because all of them will get impeached. The Republicans already said they want to impeach Joe. They want to impeach Harris. They want to impeach Pelosi and Schumer. They want to impeach all 4 of them. And it's got lots of stuff to impeach them for. And with that kind of vote, they could do it. I actually think the country would be happy to see Schumer and Pelosi go bye-bye. I think they'd be happy to see Biden go bye-bye. I don't know about
You
Kamala.
know who
I'd
I'd
have
be
to check
happy
our
to see
ratings.
go bye politically is Adam Schiff. That's a
Oh,
dude I
shit,
just
shit.
don't like him.
Nobody likes him, except
I
for,
don't like his
except for
lies.
you.
I don't like anything about him, man. He's a horrible person.
He's
And
a
this
sick
is what we've
individual,
got in our
really is.
government, man. This is what we've got. Like representing us as people. You know,
Um, he's sick. That's a and nobody's been talking about, but Nancy Pelosi, the whole bunch of Democrats had COVID. The whole bunch of them did. They've been getting it on and off. I said Pelosi had
Fauci,
it like 4 times in the last year and a
Fauci's
half.
got COVID.
Fauci's got it too, and he hasn't come out and talked about how great the vaccine was in safety.
He had all four. Well, he had the two boosters, right? He had two shots plus two boosters. I'm actually a vaccine ambassador. You can ask me anything about the vaccines, and I will tell you.
Oh, so this is what we were talking about earlier. Democrat Party has just suffered a huge loss after Republican candidate flipped the House seat in a deep blue district that had been held by Democrats for 150 years. 100. The district is 84% Hispanic, and it was an overwhelming landslide. People, I'm telling you, the Hispanics are coming out and voting, both in this one and in the presidential election. If Trump's in there, they're going to vote for Trump.
And you know what the biggest issue to those Hispanics who voted for her is? What they list as the biggest issue to them is all the illegals coming over the borders. Man.
Yes, because they came here legal. They don't want
right,
the illegals
they came
here.
here legal and established themselves, and they see what's going on. All you see, they just caught a whole bunch of them. That was, terrorists. Right? There was like I think 15 that they gathered. That they've caught in the last few months. So I don't know. The open border is a bad idea.
Oh,
Really.
so that's why they were making a big deal out of this tug. Ukraine uses Western Harpoon missile, first time sinks tugboat. Oh, so just one missile sank to bits. That's I see.
That's like farting in the tub, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know it is. It is. Now here's a good one for you. 7 arrested in house office building linked to Colbert show. Colbert, have you been out there getting into the rioting too, my friend?
I want to see China put that aircraft carrier into the water and watch it just roll over. Remember they did that one time with one of them? It kind of just like rolled over in the water.
Oh, I know. I remember. I've actually seen that more than once, actually. Let's see. Oh, y'all didn't know this. I meant to say, bringing this up. There's been a lot of weird stuff going on. So they think they found a fossil on Mars, which was interesting, but I'm going to save that for another show. Also, China says it thinks it has detected the first alien civilization.
Yeah,
it's one of the really big. Yeah, it's been out for a couple of days, so y'all can check it out. We're not going to get into it tonight because we're still doing news. But
signals. They said they picked up a signal. It could also be them themselves. They said.
Yeah, and that's the problem with these signals. The U.S. supposedly have picked up signals over the years, but you don't really know. But the reason I even brought all this up because I noticed something that was interesting. Now, 2 countries have kind of pushed back on Russia over the war in the Ukraine. What is it? I can't never pronounce it. Kazaka. It's like Kazakh, if I remember right. They're like, no, dude, we don't want to be involved in this. And a couple of his allies have also said, this little coalition Russia has said they don't want to be involved. As a matter of fact, the only one of it is Moldova, whichever that little.
You got to look at it. So it's Kazakhstan or Kazakhstan. A lot of people say Kazakhstan, but people who are from there kind of say Kazakhstan and Moldova. Man, think of Moldy and Ova.
Yeah. So, Moldova. But that's the only one that's behind Russia on this. Even China isn't really behind Putin on this.
You know how small Moldova is?
Yeah, it's a fart. It's like the size of one of the provinces that's been taken in the Ukraine.
Yeah, it's tiny.
I don't even think it's that big.
They barely have a military. They're kind of stuck there, and they have to kiss Putin's ass, otherwise he'll blast them one.
Yeah, he'll do just what he's doing to the Ukraine, except he'll have success. That's all.
Well, I hear these guys designations on Poland too. He said when he was that he's acting like Peter the Great and he wants to take back all these countries.
Well, you're not getting Poland, buddy. Poland going to put up a bigger fight than the Ukraine, and they're going to be backed by the EU and the NATO.
They're NATO.
They'll be hell. They'll be hell to pay for that. There'll be nukes flying in. Well, I know people always get scared when they hear the nuclear word. As long as it's not a full-out nuke war where the U.S. and Russia empty their payloads. If that happens, don't worry about it. Everybody's dead anyway. If it's just a nuke war who takes out their militaries and other nukes, then yeah, it is winnable. And it doesn't mean the world's going to end, especially the Southern Hemisphere. Everybody might shift and move down to South America, to Australia, and places like that where the Northern Hemisphere
I'll be in Jamaica, man. Hey.
And it's not that they won't feel effects down there. They will because of convection currents. But still, it's a little bit different than what people think. It's not a complete unsurvivable thing. And a lot of nukes don't do the damage you think they do. So 20 kiloton dropped over New York. It would flatten about 3 or 4 square miles. It just flattened it. But the center would still be standing because the nuke is air detonation, so it puffs out and goes down. And then another, say, 5 miles after that, or maybe even 8 miles, would be seriously contaminated radiation. But for about a 20-mile area around the city would be completely contaminated. But of course, the further you get away from the center, the less it's going to be. So, oh, I know 20 miles is enough to wipe out New York. It's not what I'm saying. When you look at this on a country basis, 20 miles is not a big thing. Um, it's not. A lot of people will survive, but people in major
So
cities will probably die.
what they've discovered with nuclear weapons, right, is that
Some are
sure
evil.
if you detonate on land, it's going to have its break point, it's going to have its heat, 10,000-degree heat, and all the radiation that comes off, and probably a good 3 to 6 mile break point depending on the size of the weapon. But when they ignite it above ground, a few miles up in the sky, what they found was one, it sends an EMP that wipes out all electronics for a huge swath of area, and it would spread radiation on everybody and kill about 93% of the population exposed to it, which would be a larger area than actually hitting the ground. So we're talking about some heavy stuff, man. And once these things start getting used in anger against one another, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, yeah, that's where it goes. Okay, guys, we're going to do some poll numbers now. Everybody's got their poll numbers out there in Joe Biden. It's funny because a couple of weeks ago, three or four people had come out with Joe Biden at 32, but everybody else had him at 42. I'm talking about the liberal places. Even CNN had to push him down to 38. I think NBC's got him at like 35 or 36. Fox got him at 31, which goes back and forth. But the major polls like the Quinnipiac poll and a couple of the other ones, the AP polls and all, have him right around 34 to 35%. That's unheard of. I mean, that's almost as low as the Congress, which I think is at 17 right now. It's just you can't win with those kind of numbers. Your party can't win with
Uh,
nobody can win with those kind of
people,
numbers.
people's morale is really low right now, and everybody's feeling the heat of
But you
just
watch, as
the high
long as he's in
prices.
present, as long as he's president with these kind of polling numbers, the violence in the country will
I
only
don't
go
think
up.
people are going to make it. I mean, when it gets into the fall and you have to start doling out the cash for heat, and you can't heat your home, you're going to heat, you're going to eat, which
Yeah, I
is
feel sorry for everybody up north because natural gas is going to be
I'm
through the
coming
freaking
down with
roof.
you, man. I'm going to be camping out in your yard, get those
Yeah, you'd be
alligators
good
off
too
my
because
ass.
it's only cold like a month and a half down here. So, but it is a little weird because it has gotten colder as things are going on. So Biden came in at 53%. That was his highest approval rating ever. Disapprove is only 36%. So here, 57% disapprove, 39% approve. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that. But as you get into other polls, it gets lower. So this is what's really weird about these polling numbers. So Trump's polling and the Republicans' polling. So if you look at the polls, let's say across all of them, where you're going to go. Like if you're thinking about Trump, right now he's polling real high. He's got a 56% approval rating with the country, so he can easily win the next election. He can easily win the next primary. So if he stays like that, nothing can knock him down. And he is going to be your next president.
Unless the Democrats can pull out somebody that can run and who's
They don't have anybody.
better
The
than him.
only the only
Not
person
right now, they don't.
so this is who they want to run because AOC will actually make her 34 right there before like a week before the presidency. So they want her to run. No way she's going to win. I'd be scared she'd be assassinated, people. So she shouldn't run. I mean, a lot of people just don't like her.
Who
I mean,
AOC?
yeah, they got her as one of the ones listed. They've got
She's
Stacey
she's one of
Abrams.
those people that people would vote against just to vote against
I
her.
know. They got
So
Stacey Abrams. Stacey Abrams. People will actually vote against Stacey Abrams. They don't like her. You could see that in the Georgia election. You're going to see it again in this coming Georgia election. They just don't like her. They want the Newman to run from California, but he's barely holding on to a seat in Cali. I mean, he's been recalled once and almost lost the recall, so he's not really feeling the thing. And then you got Kamala, who's sitting around 28% right now. So I'm not sure.
the only truly formidable candidate, and I say that loosely because he's been vilified, would have been Cuomo. And if it wasn't for all that stuff and him leaving office, he would have been a power force. And I don't like the guy, but he's got the balance and charisma. He's also not a heavy duty liberal. he's more of like the older value, if I can use that term loosely, Democrat. But there are people who in New York obviously that can't stand him. But now since the girl said, oh, he wanted to play naked poker, and oh, he kissed me at this thing, or he made moves,
Well, a
whatever.
lot of the stuff they talked about, there was some stuff that was kind of sketchy, but a couple things they talked about was just, yeah, you just wanting to
Elliot
get on their
Spitzer
level.
cheated on his wife with prostitutes, and he was the governor of New York State. He had to resign in humility. I mean, like, the guy was breaking the law. He was cheating on his wife. He was just not acting like somebody who would have respect for themselves would act. I mean, no, cheating's one thing, but the hookers is something else. But you know what? I think Cuomo had that foundation, and he was grounded. But that's the only ones that they really have, the Democrats, who could really come out and I mean, Cuomo against Trump would be fun to watch. That would be just Godzilla going against Godzilla, two freaks of nature completely going at each other. Both New Yorkers, man. You know what I mean? Like, and they got dirt on each other all day long. They would, but I don't think it's going to happen.
No, who just sent me this poll? What is this? Oh,
Biden
no.
Biden thinks that he's going to run, and now he's seeing his party turn on him and the media turn on him. He got mad. He was like, "They're
But you know
lying."
what? You know what's nice, though? Having come out, I mean, not come out, having AOC and them come out, that gives him 2 years to get rid of her. He can find, because he can start pushing the people in New York not to vote for her again. Uh,
They're lying. They're telling lies.
Well,
You're like,
because so first off, he tried to blame Putin for the gas, and then everybody was like, no, the prices were already this high when the war started, so you can't blame it on Putin. And so everybody's like, oh, that's not going to work. Then he tried to blame it on oil companies, but they corrected him. He said, no, this is on you, Biden. You have to earn this. You did this. You wrecked the country. Nobody else wrecked. The country was doing great. Quality of life before you took over was really good. Everybody was happy. Everybody was coming, If it wouldn't have been for COVID, Trump would have won on a landslide.
in January of 2020, a poll was done, a massive, wide ass area poll, and they said 93% of people were happy with their lives and wouldn't change a thing in this country, like in their government and whatever. So I mean, that's something right there. That's something. And then COVID hit, and all the stuff. They politicized it against Trump, even though in the beginning he was kind of a buffoon with it, but then he acted responsibly. You know, the mask thing. He didn't have to have the mask war. He didn't have to get into the trenches. That was his problem. That he just got into the trenches with people. It's supposed to be beneath you, and you let other people do that in your administration. But he likes to fight. He's one of those guys. He
Oh,
likes to get in.
man.
He would have been a
Rosman's,
better shock jock. He should have been a shock jock. He could have been like
yeah,
Howard
could have been.
Stern type of thing.
So I'm on Real Clear Politics right now, so I can look at all the different polls. But
Yeah.
so Rosman's and USA Today both show Joe's approval rating at 60% disapproval.
Mm.
60%. That's crazy. Generic Congress votes, it's 40-40 right now. We approve of the Republicans and Democrats. The generic poll, the Republicans are up by 8 points, +5, another +5. Alabama, all of these, the Republicans are just, as you go down this list and you see all of these different polls, they're just murderizing the Democrats in every area. I don't even
There's a
know what they can
crisis.
do.
There's a crisis in every area. There's a crime wave. The prices are up, and the crime wave has nothing to do with gas prices,
Oh,
man.
wait, you're going to love
The
these.
crime wave is because of these bail laws, letting criminals go. Acting as an accomplice to these criminals. That's the way I see it. If you're a DA and you're not enforcing the laws and keeping criminals off the streets, you're not doing your job. So you
So,
see all the one there in California, San Francisco got recalled, and he's gone. He blames it's the conservatives. No. It's people in San Francisco who are tired of being victimized, tired of seeing these criminals who just revolving door justice, and they go out and then they kill. Next time they kill. It's a crisis, man.
yeah. Quinnipiac has his approval rating at 35. Reuters has it at 41. Politico, which is a completely liberal leaning thing, has him at 38. Governor Econo has him at 43. Oh, look at this. The approval rating for Congress right now is 15%. Its disapproval rate is 63%. That just means they're dysfunctional. America, that's what that means. Vote their asses out. I mean, you got Republicans on the economy approval rating is 48, Democrats is 41. Quinnipiac has them 46, 41. Everywhere you go down here, there's one tie on Politico, but everything else, the Republicans are ahead by big points. In every aspect for everything we're talking about, from economy to food to illegals, everything. I mean, I haven't seen something like this. You'd have to go back to Reagan's days to find this, or maybe Nixon's days. I mean, this looks horrible for the Democrats. I don't really feel sorry for them because they deserve whatever they get, but still.
So Corinne Jean Pierre, the one you say is a transvestite, she's not a transvestite. She's just lesbian. She's LGBTQIA plus that type of
Yeah.
thing. She's
Plus, she got a weenie. Yeah.
married to Suzanne Malveaux.
Plus, she got a weenie.
I don't know. It doesn't say that she was born in that.
That's what they said when they put her on air the first time.
47 years old.
Skank them off. She's a skank them off. I know.
You know what? Her salary
She
is
reminds me of Linda Tripp.
$180,000 a year is her salary. Man.
Shit, you had to pay me more than that to do that job. Oh my god.
I would have fun in that job, man. You get to lie. You can just lie about anything. You can just tell it could be daylight outside. You say it's nighttime.
I want to meet this 25% of America that says the country's headed in the right direction. If you're listening to this show tonight, and I know we anywhere from 1 million to 1.5 million listeners. If you're in this 25% that thinks this country's headed in the right direction, I want you to call into the show or pop into the chat. I'll even let you get on the air with us because I got to know what you think's headed in the right direction. Even all my liberal friends are like, oh my God, we're about to crash, burn, and die.
Well, you see the stock market's crashing. It's gone below 30. They've erased all the gains that Trump did during his administration.
They're gonna start erasing the ones Obama did if they don't get it under control soon.
Yep, it's going down, down, down every day.
It's well, nobody has faith in our country or our president. I mean, he's scary. No. Biden scares the hell out of me. I mean, not so much because I think he's just not always there. And when you're dealing with people like Putin, you need to have every ounce of your wits around you. Putin's an evil SOB, and you need to have your wits around you.
Not just him, man. There's a whole bunch of them out there. She's Xi Jinping. He's not the same.
Yeah, worse. But she's just a little different. Actually, no, that's not true. I actually have respect for Putin. You should respect Putin. Putin's done a lot for his country, but I think as he's gotten sicker and dealing with the chemo, I think it's starting to affect the way he thinks. And I think you'll start seeing some of his people around him. Well, they said there's already been 2 attempts on his life. Yeah, so. Well, because he's costing everybody billions of dollars. I mean, look what he did with McDonald's. So McDonald's left, so they rebranded McDonald's. They made it. I mean, not just them; they did other companies, but
tasty treats, man. That's cat food here in America. Some tasty treats.
So, if you poll all of America right now, for Trump, he's polling 44%. Amongst Republicans, he's like at 86. Amongst everybody else, amongst Hispanics, he's somewhere around 60. Even with blacks, he's around 50. So the only place he's polling below that is with liberals, and he's still polling in the high 30s to low 40s with liberals. Even they realized that he was actually not as bad a president as we thought. And now that we know the whole Russian thing was a complete and utter lie, it's hard for the Democrats to even say. I mean, because he did a good job as president, so it can be hard to say anything about it. And since all these news medias are getting a crap suit out of Biden, I'm not sure if he won't have an easier time getting in. They're going to have to be careful what they say from now on, because he's going to win every one of these suits, especially since the FBI came out and said, oh yeah, that's what happened. Hillary did this. And y'all ran with it without investigating. And so you look like a bunch of losers.
I think she's pretty cute, man.
You know what? I think that's why they're getting rid of so many of these hosts, like Rachel and all them, and Don and all them. I think. Oh my God! I think that's why they're getting rid of them to stave off some of their liabilities.
I can say she's a dude. She didn't even look like a dude. You know, these transvestites don't fool me.
Whatever. Apparently you ain't never been in New Orleans, man.
I'm from the city, man.
Apparently you ain't never been in New Orleans, man.
The trannies in the city, started the whole freaking thing.
Yeah, no. Y'all don't have near the gay population that San Francisco and New Orleans has.
I used to work for a newspaper on Long Island, an entertainment paper called Good Times. And then they sent me all over the place to do reviews and clubs and bands and of course comedians, whatever, right? So there was this thing called the New Music Seminar in New York City. It lasted a couple of years, and then I was one of the judges for the New Music Seminar. And what it was is just like hundreds of bands and all these different venues, and you go there and just like listen to three of their songs, and and write down the review and also vote to see where they were. One of them was a transvestite bar. It was like this huge club. It was very funny, but like funny in the way that when you walk through the door, it's dark in there and whatever. But I'm never uncomfortable. Me personally, never uncomfortable unless it's like some dangerous situation. Even sometimes there, I'm not that uncomfortable. But it's just people are people, man. The people in that club. Some of my friends were like, "Oh, how could you go in there?" And weren't you freaked out or whatever? I'm like, for what? For what? Well, guys buying me drinks all night. I'm good with that, man. Rub my feet, a little bit of that. Give me some rides around town. What kind of income you got there? You know what? It really comes down to respect. Respecting other people, respecting yourself. You don't have to. I don't care if someone's gay or straight or whatever the hell they are. For me to respect them, they just have to be good people. You know?
what the hell did I just do?
Good people by my standards, which are really low.
Oh no, man! I got high standards when it comes to good people, man. Because ain't many of them on the planet anymore.
You know what? If someone's an animal abuser, they're the worst type of people. So I mean, I kind of have categories for who's good, who's not good, who's nasty, who's not nasty. I've been
No,
watching a lot
no.
of Seinfeld lately. Remember Seinfeld?
Dog is good eating, man. I don't know why you want to hate on that.
Hot dogs? Yeah, I had some earlier.
Uh,
Sauerkraut, man. Love some sauerkraut. But I've been watching Seinfeld. Seinfeld was a funny show, is a funny show. The characters were likable. Even if they did unlikable things, they were still likable. And then, you look at television today, man, it's not like that at all. It's just nothing but negative characters and friction. Look at The Office, right? I mean, the whole show, if you examine the personalities of the people on that show, they're terrible people, and doing terrible things to one another and kind of just lying and this and that and whatever. I don't know, just an observation, but I can watch MASH from back in the day, and even Frank Burns, who was like the most unlikable character, was likable, to a level. You know what I mean?
I liked MASH when I was young. Uh, it
Gilligan's
was
Island. I would
yeah.
have offed that guy. He would have
You
after.
know what? This is a good. Hold on a second. Let me segue this out real quick. So I'm gonna give away a book. If anyone can tell me what the theme song to MASH was, that's an easy one.
Rawhide.
Uh, I'll give you. I'm only gonna give y'all 1 minute because I don't want all y'all rushing to
I
look it
know
up
it,
on the
man.
internet.
If they can't get it, I'll get it, and then I'll get the book.
It's
Ding a ding a ding.
I got one Mission Earth left and one Battlefield Earth left. So I'll send you one of
It
them.
starts with an S. Ding a ding a
It
ding.
does start with an S.
Ding a ding a ding.
It's
Rolling,
it
rolling,
it,
rolling.
it was a
Keep
fairly
them
well known
doggies
song at the
rolling.
time. Come on, y'all running out of
Rolling,
time.
rolling, rolling.
I see one email
Raha.
come in. Wait, I see two emails coming in. It's first email, so we'll see who
Oh,
gets it
they're gonna
right.
look it up though. This day and age, nobody's honest anymore. I know it. I
Yes,
know
it
what it
is.
is.
Suicide is painless is what the theme song is.
Suicide is painless. Do 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 do
Yeah,
do.
yeah, I know.
They took the lyrics out of it when they made the television show though.
Yeah, because they didn't want people killing themselves. No, I'm serious. That's the theme song. Suicide is painless. Well, you got to remember this was set in Korea,
Korea.
uh, so it wasn't exactly the best of time to be anywhere.
They're basically in the front lines.
Yeah, they were basically right on the edge of the front lines. I mean, because you had to be as close as you could to save the people's lives.
Yeah.
It doesn't help you to be way out on miles away. That's what the helicopters are for.
I gotta say though, I've always loved Alan Alda. I like him as a character. I like everything he's done. Have you ever watched the shows that he's in where he travels around the world and all that?
I don't get to watch that much TV. It's all I remember is the Hawkeye thing from Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah,
And have y'all ever seen Last of the Mohicans? My wife
it
loves
was
it.
cool. The show was too liberal though. They they actually lied to get the point across.
Well, you can't expect television to be honest anymore. That's
Well,
a
they
waste of
told the
time.
story about the guy who invented plasma, and he was a black man in America, And they said, well, he died because he got into a car accident, and the hospital he went to was whites only, and they wouldn't let him in. It didn't happen like that at all. And so I don't know. I mean, there's plenty of racism in America that you can pull real stories out and say this is what happened.
Yeah, but I
We
noticed
click.
for a lot of them lately, it's been a lot harder. Think about it. in the last 5 years, how many people have been caught faking racism?
Lots.
Like girls on the bus that, oh, the white girl jumped,
Oh
couldn't
yeah,
find out they
lots,
jumped. I mean,
lots.
there's been lots of this. I mean, lots and lots of it. And what's nice is it is see that they're getting busted and it's going out there. But that tells you right there that racism isn't what people want to make you think it is. I mean, if you have to start faking it to get on the news, then it's not where it used to. And it's not. I mean, when I talk to my friends down here, they're all the same way. It's different. Of course, I live in a black city, so it's an entirely different thing.
They call
If
it
there's going to be
chocolate
if there's
city.
going to be any discrimination down here, it's going to be against whites. So
New Orleans is chocolate city, man.
that chocolate city, man.
It is. You know what? It's part of its roots. It's a very important thing about New Orleans. It's a very important thing about a lot of those communities. You know, you have to have your roots and have that respect and pride. You know, that kind of self pride, not pride as the group that you're in, but more about what you're capable of doing. You know what I mean? Self respect.
Self respect is a good thing to have, man. It's Oh, the chocolate city thing was the mayor who went to jail for 10 years. Yeah, he paid dearly for that comment.
Well, the comment
Uh,
actually comes from the mothership, George Clinton. So when they started naming all the chocolate cities, Atlanta, chocolate city, so Harlem, chocolate city, that was that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
yeah, he just thought he was gonna be a smart ass, and it came back to bite him in the ass.
Well, Ray Nagin, he said that it was God that destroyed New Orleans because he was angry, and that's why he sent Katrina. The guy's he was a nut.
He
He
was a
was a
nut. He was a whack. That's why he got 10 years.
He was a
He
freaking
was
well. He
stealing
was
money.
a thief, and during Katrina, he was shooting dice in a hotel room, a high end hotel room, with the chief of police and the head of his emergency management team. I mean, these people should have been out there helping people, but man, what a mess! Katrina was a mess.
It was, and they're still cleaning up. From I told everybody in the beginning, it'd be at least 20 years because
Uh,
we knew that from Betsy and Camille because that's how long it took to get over there.
the gangs were roaming around with guns, shooting guns in the air, and they didn't let the National Guard go in there and clear them out. It became a huge issue, so they couldn't send people in. I have friends that went down there to donate that time. They were held in camps outside because of all the gangs with guns, and it was unsafe to send them in. Like send in the National Guard, shoot anybody who's firing a gun in the air. I mean, come on, man, it's a disaster.
It's Who the hell sent me? Just wait, this can't be right. Let me look at this. So race in New Orleans: 51% white, 8% Hispanic, 34% black. When did that happen? New Orleans has always been 60% black. I guess Katrina did. I'm not believing that, people. I'm gonna have to see better polls than that. New Orleans. You see, this one says New Orleans is 58% black. I believe that one. Yeah, I'm not buying the other. Plaquemine 58, Natchitoches 58, Monroe 61. That sounds about right to me. No, people don't understand in the deep South. We're talking about Atlanta, New Orleans, places like that. Uh, Florida places. The black populations are quite large. Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, and Georgia is probably where the majority of blacks live in the country. Yeah, in those four states, and they are the majority in those big cities. It's just how it is.
Ah,
Where they were
you
slaves,
can't
now they're
discount.
free.
You can't
Well,
discount
because you
California.
know what it is. Nah,
And,
they learned though. They learned.
Illinois. There's a ton of
I'll tell you
Chicago,
what. All my black
and
friends tell me
New York
they
City,
learned. That's why our Compton mayor left Compton, California. She
New
says
York
that
State.
California and New York and Chicago are much more racist than the South is. Much, much. And you know what? Every black person I know will tell you that, including just recently, some friends of mine were back up north again. They're black. The first thing they say is, "I can't believe how racist they are." I've had a couple of friends of mine who live in Chicago, left Louisiana to live up there, go to business. Now they're coming home because they say they don't feel safe living in Chicago anymore because it's so racist.
Well, it's dangerous. Beyond
Yeah,
that,
but they say
racist,
it's racist.
but it's dangerous, man. you know.
So I was like, but it makes sense because this is where the largest populations were after the war. Even though some did move into the northern states, the majority of them stayed down here. And as they became in control, you had to learn to live with each other. The populations are too big now, so you have to get along. It's not an option anymore. It's either get along or civil unrest breaks out. So that's just, and then we got to deal with the National Guard, so everybody's happy now. And
I
you'll see
never
it at
had a
Mardi
problem.
Gras or any of the big festivals down here. You'll see it. The populations are mixed. Everybody's having a good time. Nobody's hating anybody because of race or sex. They're just having fun. And I
I
guess
never had
it's
a
one of the
problem
saving
getting along
graces.
with with anybody from any color or any group,
No, I don't give a shit
whatever
what color
they
you are.
want to consider themselves.
My
I went
rule's
to all
always been
black
the
school.
same thing.
I went to all black school in sixth grade. They
Yeah.
took like 8 kids from the other school and they put us in an all black. So that was fine, man. I made some of my best lifelong friends there. You know, so I mean, what difference does it make? It's just a little bit of different of a culture, and I love learning about new cultures, different cultures. Especially the food, man. The food from those cultures, yeah.
Hey man, where's the ex first lady? I haven't seen her around lately.
Food unites the world, man, and everyone loves pizza. Keep that in mind.
Let's
First
see.
lady, she just got Biden on the helicopter. He was
No,
trying to
no,
talk.
the ex first lady, not this
Oh,
first lady. The other first lady. I haven't seen her around lately. That's why I was asking. I
I hear
really
she's
haven't.
on a spending spree. I hear that she's
Well, it's not
spending some
like
of those
Trump can say anything about that.
the millions that they got from being president. That
So,
they went to Netflix and they gave them this huge deal.
so there was a recent poll done of 10,000 people in the United States, and out of these 10,000, 78% that said Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer should be removed from Congress at whatever cost.
They need to go. That other dude, Mitch McConnell, he needs
Oh,
to
they
go.
think he needs to go too, but he
There's,
wasn't quite
there's,
as high up as these
they
two were.
have dinosaurs that need to go. We need term limits so they can't sit in there and get corrupt. They're in, they're out. That's it. We need term limits for Supreme Court. I don't know why they're in there forever, man. Like the Pope. There's no other office in America that does that.
Hmm.
Like it
What?
matters.
So why are so many Asian Americans being attacked out in L.A. right now? That don't
I
even make
think
any sense.
some of these Supreme Court justices get so aged they lose touch with what's going on. They lose touch with, and who's to say that they're
I used to think that, but I think that about Congress because they get so rich. I'm not sure about the Supreme Court. They've got a lot of aides that keep them
it's
up
not
on
about
stuff.
money. It's about power. And if there's a
But
Supreme
that's
Court
not what I
justice
mean.
that's really corrupt, you
But
know how
that's
hard it is getting a judge out of office who's
it is
corrupt.
it is hard, but it's hard. It's hard to get them out. But the justices lead different lives than like the Congress does. So they seem to be more down to earth than Congress. Congress seems to be out of touch. Unless you're a new Congress, you seem to be out of touch. These guys are making $400,000 a
Because
year, been doing this.
Congress is motivated by money, but the reality is we need those checks and balances. We need them to correct the system when the system goes off the kilt. Those checks and balances don't really exist as much because everybody in Congress is about being on the take. It's all about the money. So even if you have a few who aren't like that, the rest who are squelch them out. So it's just that level of corruption.
It's
You know?
what's this? Oh, I'm sorry. I see an old Cruz out there saying something crazy. What do you mean?
So
How's
they're,
Ted
so
Cruz
they're
still in Senate? Because they
so
love him in Texas. That's why.
let me ask you, Joe. They're looking at The Rock to host the next awards. The one that Chris Rock got slapped down. And so, do you think that like Will Smith would go up there and smack The Rock? What do you think?
I don't really think so. Because I think The Rock would get slap him back.
Keep my wife's bold name out your mouth. And then The Rock would be like, he's got that laugh.
It's
Yeah, no, Will Smith wouldn't have
you know
gotten
what
up.
though?
He'd just
I'm
laugh.
still not convinced the whole thing wasn't something else. I'm just still not convinced. At first, I couldn't even hear the slap because one of the cops sent it to me, and then but I forgot who it was. Played a different version where you could hear. But then I
No, no, no,
realized when
no,
I
no.
heard it slap, it sounded like hitting meat. It didn't sound like hitting the
Watching
face.
watching the bit where Denzel Washington had to sit Will Smith down after and then take him to school about Jesus and the Lord and he needs to pray. That watching Will Smith's face while Denzel was saying it was funny as hell, man. Oh my God. He should have slapped him. He should have just slapped everybody that got in his way that night. My name was Will Smith. Now I'm slap happy. Slap everybody in the way.
Damn, SpaceX launching again. These guys launch like every week now.
Oh yeah,
They're
man.
they're, they're made China feel just pathetic. It was so funny because China was actually catching up with America and launching a lot of stuff, and then all of a sudden, here comes our billionaires start launching shit all over the planet.
Yeah.
It's but this one launches record-breaking mission from Florida employees.
Because he knows what he's doing, man. He
Wait,
can
what
get
is
out of his
this?
own way. He knows how to get stuff done. He's a
SpaceX. Yeah.
businessman.
Well, you wait. Well, we're going to talk about this. Hold on. Don't let me forget about him and Twitter in a minute. But wait. SpaceX launches record-breaking mission from Florida. Employees fired over letter. Wait, that's got to be something here I'm missing out on. Journalism like this take time, resources, police support. Yeah, SpaceX booster fired, criticizing the behavior of founder Elon Musk. You don't talk shit about Elon, people. Not if you want to stay
Employed.
working for him. Yeah, you can't do that. You can't talk about your boss. Sorry, people.
Can't
That's not.
talk
It's
about any
uncouth.
boss.
So you can't. That's what I'm saying. You can't talk about your boss, especially if it's going to go out in public or it's going to be written to a letter to other employees. You can't do that. That's just uncouth, and you will get fired for that. You might go to your boss and bitch or HR and bitch, but other than that, you can't do that.
Let me tell you,
But
you don't even want to. If at work, you don't even want to say a negative word about anything because people will go off on you.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, Elon said today at Twitter, he was over at Twitter's office today talking to his going to be soon to be new employees, and he tells them, he said only exceptional employees can work from home, and I mean exceptional. He said I will expect the same work ethic out of y'all that I expect from myself.
Because
And
you
he
don't want them
said,
slacking, man. There was a
yeah,
lot of slackers.
and that's what he said. He said I want to make 1 billion online subscribers within a year. And he said, but I got to be honest with y'all, Twitter is heavy with employees that don't do anything. He said, so all I can tell you is if you want to stay, do your job.
I dumped Twitter again.
Oh,
You know,
and
just a
wait,
bunch of noise.
he did say that you will be allowed to say whatever you want on Twitter. He said there's
Even
not
about
going to
him.
yeah, well, I don't know about him, but I don't know. He probably don't care. I said something about him the other day. I didn't say I didn't get in trouble for it. So, but I don't want to upset him because he might take me to Mars with
I
it.
remember you
I
said
guess
that Amber Heard pooped in his bed and he liked it.
he might have.
That was
Ron
kinky, man.
DeSantis
That's
ripped
some
over
kinky
gas
stuff.
tax as dumber than a
That's
sack
like
of
German
match. What?
kinky. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're getting ready to go, guys. I didn't realize it was as late as we got a couple more things and we're going to get out of here. Ron DeSantis is pulling way the hell up in numbers. So what did he do now? Florida Governor Ron DeSantis milking the timing of a 25-cent gas tax reduction. So wait, the media is getting mad at him because he's reducing the gas. Get the out of here.
Apparently, he said he was going to get rid of taxes on all kinds of things.
Well, they don't have a state tax. Florida has no state
to
tax.
reduce the cost for people. So I don't know.
Yeah,
We
Florida's one
shall
of the
see.
states in the union that does not have a state tax, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, Bruce, they do have legal marijuana
They
there.
have a VAT tax there, don't they? Have a VAT tax?
No, they don't. They don't have hardly any taxes compared to other
I
states. I
think
mean,
they have a VAT tax.
they. I know they've got like their license tax and they've got their brake tag tax and things like that. See, Mississippi don't have brake tag tax. We did away with those. We thought they were kind of useless. But they also make you get your see my license down here goes for every 8 years. Now my car license don't, it's every 2, but still my other license every 8. It's more and more states are trying to figure other ways to get money than taking it from their citizens. Because frankly, they figure if the citizens got more money, they'll spend more and they'll make more in taxes, which is a true statement.
Florida's got a sales tax rate of 6%.
Yeah, it's cheap.
New York's
6%. Just second cheap. 6 is cheap. I don't. There's only I think 5.5 something is the lowest. But down here it's 8 something. So I mean, it's people. It's high, and there's usually 2 taxes anyway. There's usually the state tax on products and then the local tax on products. So you get a double tax. You get 6 from them and 5 from whatever county you live in or something. So it's actually more like an 11%.
There's no personal income tax in Florida.
Nope, no personal income tax at all. They don't have it, and the only state that doesn't have income tax is for the government is Nevada, Southern Nevada. Yes, people, if you live in Southern Nevada, you don't have to pay income tax.
We're ending the show talking about taxes, man. It's going to piss people off.
Yes,
So-
we're getting ready to move away
fun.
from that anyway. Now, so going back to Twitter for a few minutes, everybody loves Twitter now. They're saying this is bothering the Twitter people bad. They're saying when Elon, because Elon said he wanted to make Twitter into something that is like Tesla. That's something that's going to make a difference in the world, something that's going to change the world, not something that's just derogatory like it is now. I mean, he basically all over Twitter today and said we're going to make you into something special, something world changing. But Elon's funny, man. Everybody, I've watched a couple of specials on Elon where that blonde's running around with him is number one, and he expects everyone to bust their ass, everyone. But he also pays top dollar. Think of it like this.
Gotta be careful of socialist media.
But it doesn't matter because he pays top dollar and everything. He gives you, you have insurance from the day. He's like Amazon. You have insurance from the day you start, and they pay you top dollar in whatever you do.
Hmm.
So it's hard. It's going to be hard to criticize him, but he
Let's
has
get
cut
let's
back.
get
He has
John
cut back
Friedman.
employees. You
Let's
know,
get him working at Gigafactory.
yeah. Somebody asked me why I thought he was laying off employees at both companies. I said because he just got he's spending $43 billion. He got to get that money back from somewhere. I said so he's going to lay off a bunch of employees. It's but he told them he was honest with him at Twitter. A bunch of y'all going to lose y'all's job.
Well, he just lost a ton of money with the stock market going down. He lost billions. Everybody
Oh
is.
yeah, it dropped him from 1 to 2. But for him, I don't think he worries about it quite as much because he knows it'll rebound sooner or later. Because
Maybe,
Tesla's a good product. Well, no, Tesla's a
maybe
good product. It's going to keep making
the
money.
economy, man. He has no control over that.
But he has control over SpaceX, which is making money hand over
Yeah, but he's got
fist.
no control over the overall economy
But
on
he doesn't.
on
He
on
doesn't need to.
consumer,
As long as one of
consumer
his
spending,
businesses.
things like that.
Yeah, but the space industry he's in will always need somebody that's got to go to space, and he's $1 billion launches. So
It's like Facebook, right? They're Meta. They call it Meta. Their stock is on a 2 year drop. And it just dropped to 160 the other day. I don't know what it is today. It going down, down, down. This is a company that restricts people, suspends people, treats people like crap. And I'm thinking, man,
I don't know what he's
they
talking about.
restricted me
Facebook loves me.
for doing nothing. And then I put it out there. Most of my friends come out saying, "Yeah, me too." One of them they restricted her from a picture she posted 4 years ago. So they're acting in a way where people are becoming done with Facebook. People are leaving, but does Facebook generate money? That's always been the big question. To generate
Yeah,
sales,
it's making tons of
they
money.
have advertising, but does the advertising lead to a sale? That's always been the question. But you got Zuckerberg, who is power hungry, and all the other rats in there who are doing the fact checking. They fact checked Socrates the other day. I posted a quote from Socrates. They fact checked and found it wrong. Socrates, you know, that he may or may not have said that. You know, really? Really?
It's
That's your fact check. We're not sure, and they're going to restrict people. They're going to do all kinds of things
see,
from
what
that
are you
judgment.
doing? These people, Facebook loves me. I've been on Facebook since they
They're judging
started.
people. You know what? There's something called malice. There's defamation of character, and if you follow the Johnny Depp trial, you know that those things are poison. Look at Amber Heard, who has to pay millions of dollars. Imagine a class action lawsuit against Facebook for all of this that they put on people. If they suspend you and your boss finds out you've been suspended, they're just going to have a poisoned mind. They're not going to know why, but they're going to know that you're kind of a
Well,
loose
I'm gonna tell
cannon.
y'all a secret. If y'all don't want to get suspended on Facebook, don't post on your personal page. Post on your business page. I've been with Facebook since they started. I post tons of shit every day, not including all the shows we post with all the material in it. And I have not been banned on Facebook, not even once.
They
Not
didn't ban
represent,
me. They
not
restricted
smack,
me,
not
and it
restricted
was
me,
a
not
stupid
nothing.
restriction. But they said it was something
Facebook loves
I
me.
posted on May 14th, but then they didn't have what it was. So the burden of proof is on them. There's also something called due process. I mean, I know that they have no pay attention to the law, but in the world we have a due process. You need to prove what they did was wrong. So they send me a thing. Oh, we know people make mistakes from time to time, so we're not going to suspend you. We're just going to restrict you for 45 days.
And
Like really. And I
more
and
than likely,
dude, I didn't even know until last week, and
but
that's when the
more
thing
than likely, somebody reported you. See, this is weird about Facebook, but
for what?
if it,
I don't
it's,
post anything
I'm
negative.
just saying, more than likely, it
I
doesn't
don't
matter.
post I don't
You
post
can still
memes
be
that are
reported.
obscene.
You can go
I don't
around
do any of
report,
that. I do none of
but it
that
doesn't
stuff.
matter if they post it and they don't check it and you don't do anything about it. Then you're done. That's just how it works. Because a lot of people are going to do that because if it's more than a couple of days old, then somebody made a complaint. That's why it got brought up. If the
I
algorithm didn't catch it in the first week, then it's not the algorithm that's the problem.
Man,
It's somebody turns
it's
it. Yeah,
what they're doing is wrong, and
you got
some other
enemies,
company's going to
man.
come along with a better platform, and then Zuckerberg and the rest of them going to go to the wayside.
They will,
He
just like
also he
MySpace did and
also
everybody
just
else
lost
did.
a ton of money. That dude.
Yeah, but and that's just a given. It's sooner or later. like MySpace did, and every other companies do. Companies, most of the companies that were in this country 50 years ago are gone now. Almost every country in this country that was 100 years old are almost gone. I think it's less than 4% still exist.
But
So it's just the way we do things, and we'll change. I mean,
it's not the way
Twitter.
we do things. This company has made themselves a communications company. They have encouraged people to use their platforms to communicate with one another, make phone calls, send messages. They're a communications company, man, which means they're a public. That's public. That's like
No, they're not public. They're
it's a
private.
public. No. They went public, so it's a public utility. If you
No,
start
they're
looking at it in the
private.
world, they went on the stock market.
No, but they're still privately owned. The majority of the stock is held by a private owner, so
They
they're
have
still private.
multiple stock. Yeah, of course, Zuckerberg. He's the
Yeah, but
big
he
guy.
owns the
But
majority. Him and his wife own the
there's a whole
majority.
bunch of them that own stock, but
Yeah, but you can
they're
own
not a
stock in a
private
company and still be private. Yeah, as long as
Cargill Salt and Cargill Foods is a private company.
they're not
on the
like
stock market. I'll
T-Mobile
explain it
or
like this, Joe.
AT&T.
To
They're
New
nothing
Orleans,
like that.
man. Anybody who takes their business on the stock market is public. Period. End of sentence.
No, indeed.
There
Not you can have
are
private
no
trading.
private
Oh no,
companies on the
man.
stock market.
Yes, there is. There are private companies in the stock market.
Nope.
And yes, there are lots of private companies in the stock market.
Joe,
You can make a company.
Series,
you can
take my
take
Series 7 and Series 63 to sell stocks. I think I know.
I'll put money on. I'll put money on it, Mike. That's how sure I am.
Okay.
I'll actually put money on this. So
$1 million.
Because Zuckerberg, it clearly says, and it says in their thing, they're a private company. Nobody's contested it. Nobody's going against it. No lawyers challenged them because they
Meta
can't.
is a public company, but they put themselves out there as a utility.
They put themselves out. They put themselves out as social media.
You are not allowed to get in the way of people's speech. That's like Verizon listening to your phone.
Social media is not the same as public media. It's not the same thing.
Socialist media, but they put themselves out there as you're not listening to me. They put themselves out there as a communications company.
2 more minutes.
Not just some app, not just an app, a communications company, and people use it to communicate.
It should, when they put the word media in it, they should have been treated like media, but they didn't. And Congress has already passed this. You can't mess with these companies. They're considered private companies. They're privately owned. Jack, what's his name, owns most of Twitter, just like Elon's going to own most of Twitter.
Can Skype listen to your conversation and ban you because they don't like what you're saying?
Yes, they can. Just like Facebook, just like anybody else, because they're an internet-based company. Now, if you take this and put it into a brick and mortar company, it's a whole different world. But as long as it's internet-based, the rules are different. It's internet-based, so the rules are different.
The only reason why the Fed hasn't gone after them about being a communications company is because they greased the pockets of these people, and that's all.
Because they can't, they would lose.
They've taken Facebook.
It wouldn't even matter if someone could
explain to me why they've taken Facebook into Congress and why Zuckerberg had to testify. What did he testify?
They took all of them in there. They took everybody. Everybody who has social media.
What did Zuckerberg testify about?
He said he owns a social media company, just like Twitter and MySpace and everybody else.
What specifically did he testify about?
Oh, I don't remember what he was testifying.
Well, that's the problem. If you don't know, you don't know.
Because it doesn't matter.
You can't challenge somebody else who does know.
I can, because free speech is free speech, and media is media, and social media is social media. And the law is very simple. If it's on the internet, it does not apply to a book and mortar store. It's
private
not the
corporations say they have no obligation to free speech.
And there's lots of private corporations out there that are on the stock market. They're still privately held and owned. The majority of stock is owned by the original owner of the company.
If you are a corporation and you're a communications company, you can't restrict speech unless someone's making threats or doing things like that.
But they're not communication companies. They're social media.
Verizon's a communication, so is AT&T.
Yeah, and they'll get in trouble if they listen to you. They got to get a warrant to listen to your conversations.
Right.
It's different for them.
So now Facebook monitoring people's communications and punishing them for the things that they're posting.
Okay, Mike, this is really easy. I'm gonna help you with this really easy. There's a little thing on there that you clicked in the beginning that said you agreed to all of these terms. So the only thing you can do is quit, because you agreed to the terms of Facebook, just like you agreed to the terms of Twitter and every other social media out there. So you're done. The argument is now over with, and you're done.
Don't even show up. They don't even.
Until Facebook takes this out of the internet market and puts it into something else, you can't touch it.
But adhesion contracts don't hold up in court.
It does for these people. You're never going to be able to touch these guys because, frankly, they're not breaking any laws. All private companies, it doesn't matter what company. Burger King is on the stock market, but it's still private. It can still tell you what you can wear in their company, plain and simple. They can tell
They
you
are
can't wear
breaking laws
earrings, you can't have
because
tattoos.
they're defaming people who have not done anything
As
by
long
their
as you
own.
have a
By
code of
Joe, let
ethics
me
or
finish.
a
You want me on
rule,
your
you
show?
can't
Let me
do it.
finish. Let me finish. They're what they're doing is abusing people through these restrictions and these bannings,
No,
and
you're
then not
abusing
Joe. Let me
people.
finish. Let me finish. And at the same time, they're not even telling you why for the most part. But yet that's defamation of character. That's malice. That's against the
It's none of
person,
that.
right? Oh,
No, it's
it's
none of
all of
that.
that.
No,
It's all
you
of that
signed an
because
agreement that you
if you
agreed
have
to it.
no, it's you're not signing an agreement to defamation of character, saying that we
Yeah,
can do
you
whatever we
signed an
want to do
agreement to
to you.
everything that goes on here. They can do
But
whatever
these
they
are
want with you.
do you know what community standards are?
They look, yeah, I know what all is. They're not
So
what YouTube's are and
what are
everybody else's.
community standards?
Community standards is what the community has to go by in order to
Right.
stay on their thing.
It's the
So
community
the
that
thing about it
decides what
is,
the standards are. So when they say community
no,
standards, they're not talking about the community standards. They're talking about their own agenda.
yeah,
They're not
that's
talking about
what they
community
are.
standards,
They're talking about their community standards for their platform.
which
That's
is
what they're
all the
talking
people on
about.
my Facebook page, which have no problem with anything that I put out there.
And actually, if it's and you know what, and this is another thing about Facebook. If you're private, they usually don't mess with you at all. They usually don't bother you at all. They only when it's a public page do they even take the time to
No,
bother
let me
with you.
tell you, if you use conservative speech, they're on you all the time.
Michael, I use
And
conservative speech all the time.
all
They
of my
never bother
friends,
me.
I never even see you out there, but all my friends out there are using conservative speech and not saying anything really all out there, but they get suspended all the time.
Dude, we post 10 shows a day on here, and half of them are
I'm not
conservative
talking about the
speech, and they
shows.
don't care. But they don't
I'm
care.
talking about individual things that you say.
They don't care. Obviously, they don't care anything I said. I've been talking on Facebook since they
How
started.
could they not
Obviously, they
care
don't
when they're
care.
suspending all these people?
They don't suspend me. That's what I'm saying. You're not being suspended by Facebook. Someone is ratting on you. That's why you're being suspended. I don't know why you can't grasp that, but that's what's going on. You got enemies. Why do you think I'm always in trouble on YouTube? It's not because the algorithm catches me. And they've told me this. It's because people keep reporting our freaking pages.
It doesn't matter if someone reports something; it doesn't mean it's wrong. It means that's their opinion.
But until
I
you
can
prove
report
that
stuff
it's
all day
not
long.
wrong,
I
until
can
you prove
report.
that it's not
You know
wrong,
what?
they
You
don't
know why they
care.
got mad at me because I started reporting all the ads that are on the page, and then they disabled that. I can't even report
See,
those
Mike
ads
just
anymore.
causing trouble, people. Facebook is a nice bunch of people. They love y'all. They like y'all being on there.
Zuckerberg laughed in the beginning when he started Facebook. He used to laugh with his friends on how easy people gave up their personal, private information, saying how stupid they
Oh,
were.
and that's another
That's what
thing.
kind of guy
Do
he
y'all
is.
notice, ladies and gentlemen, everything you publish on Facebook, they can use in
Well,
advertisement.
It belongs to them.
Yep. Every picture, everything you publish on there can be used unless it's a business page, and then it doesn't belong to them. So I try to explain this to people all the time. Facebook has different rules between business pages and personal pages. Because things that are not acceptable for personal pages, a lot of times they don't care about if you post on a business page because it's a money page. So it's a different it's a different standard. Yes, they have dual standards before you even ask people. But as long as you sign that agreement, you are screwed.
Have you ever read the
Uh,
agreement?
no, if I read that thing is like 40 pages long. Actually, it's more than
Right.
that. I think it's like 400
I've
pages
actually
long.
read it,
Nah, you didn't
and
read
it
it.
says nothing about defaming, being able to defame your character.
The,
There's
the
still
only,
laws in this country, you know.
all you can do is get a lawyer. I'd like to see anybody get a lawyer and sue Zuckerberg for
I'm looking at a
defamation.
class action lawsuit, man. I'm going to start advertising for it. I think people need to get together and make their voice
And
heard.
I'm going to tell you exactly what the judge is going to ask. First question: did you sign the community agreement? And
No,
you're
I
going to say
didn't because
yes,
it's not.
and he's going to do this.
I use it.
Case
I only use it on
dismissed.
my phone. I use it online. You
He's
keep
going to say
saying that.
case
On,
dismissed. It
let
doesn't
me
matter
tell you.
where you use it. You cannot use Facebook unless you click agree. It doesn't matter where you use it at. You have to click agree
Not
when you
if you use
first
it on your
sign in.
computer.
Yeah, wherever you did. So when
I
you
use it in
first
the
set up
browser.
Facebook,
I use
when
it in
you
the browser on my
it doesn't
computer.
matter. When you first set it up, you still had to click
And it's
agree.
also an
You
adhesion
had to
contract.
join.
And there's no contract that says they're
You
going
had
to
to
abuse
join.
you, abuse your rights, and abuse you.
They're not
They don't
abusing
say
your
that.
rights. They're not
They
abusing your
are.
rights at all.
They
You have
are.
no rights, but you're not understanding. You have no
I
rights on
do understand
Facebook.
if someone
You have
suspends
no
you,
rights on
if someone
Facebook, like you
restricts
don't
you for
have on
something that
Twitter.
they said you
Look,
did wrong,
Twitter obviously is
that's
worse
wrong.
than Facebook is, and the government couldn't touch them. They even drug him into Congress, and they still couldn't touch him because the way it is written, you're screwed. Once you click agree,
Does
you're done.
Twitter put themselves out there as a communication device?
Yes, they same thing. They say they're social media, just like
They
Facebook
post under
does.
20 words or whatever, but Facebook allows you to call people. Facebook
So does
allows you to
Twitter.
make
So does
internet calls.
Instagram.
Hey man, you're changing to a different world.
But
You'll
Twitter does the
see.
same thing. You can change
You know,
on.
right now
You can call on Twitter.
liberal government will never go after them,
Look,
but it'll happen
not
eventually.
only can you make phone calls on Twitter and Instagram, and then you can do live broadcasts from wherever you are by a click of your phone or a
When
click
they
of your
put
computer.
themselves out there as a communication company, they limited
Now,
what they could do as to
now, when
restrict
they go on a
communication.
public stock market as a communication company, then things will change. But until
Well,
they do
what do you
that,
think Meta is?
until they do that, they're
You
not.
know they're
But
on the stock market, right?
everybody's on the stock market, but they're not trading as a
No, not
communication
everybody's not on the
company.
stock market, but Meta is.
They anybody who's got more than $1 million is probably in the stock market. It's
Maybe. Not
but the
really.
thing of it
Carville
is,
family. The
Meta
Carville family's
is
not in the
not a
stock market.
communication company
And
though.
they're
They don't list themselves as that. That's not what they're listed as.
that's a billion
Um,
dollar company. They never went public.
the problem is social media is social media, and it's exactly what it means. It means
It's socialist
social
media.
with other
It's a
people,
socialist
not
media.
anything else. I agree, it's a
It was
socialist thing,
it was designed
but
by
you still
people
signed the
that are very
agreement.
left
You
leaning.
were the bad party here.
I
You
didn't
you
sign
knew
any
it was
agreement
bad.
to use it online.
You knew
I wish
Facebook
you
was
stopped
bad when you
saying
got
that
on.
because I didn't sign
Mike,
any
you
agreement to use
had
it
to
online.
agree. You had to agree to join Facebook.
No, I didn't.
Everybody
I just
does.
signed
Yes.
in.
Yeah,
I
because you
signed in
signed
on
up
my
on your phone.
computer.
It doesn't matter.
Not
Somewhere
the phone. I
you
don't
had
use it
to
on my
create an
phone. You're not
account.
listening to me. I
No,
don't use it
Mike,
on my phone.
Mike, you can't get in Facebook without creating an account. You have to create an account. Doesn't
Sure, I
matter
have
where
an
you do it
account.
from. And once you create an account, in order to create that account, you have to hit accept. Once you do that, you're done.
There's a different agreement online than what's on the phone. What's on the phone, you give them permission to
Okay,
go
well,
over
first
your
off, I
phone
don't have an
calls.
app on my
You're
phone. I
giving
just
them
use the
permission to
browser
go
on
over
my
your
phone.
phone calls. You're giving them permission to go through your texts. You're giving them permission to go
Yeah,
through
if
all
you're
the
on some
all.
crappy phone, you are. I mean, if
No,
you're like some
you're giving them
1920s phone.
permission. You're giving them permission. You said it
What do you
yourself.
did you put their app on your phone? Is that what you did? Because I don't have their app on my phone. I only have the browser on my phone. I don't use apps.
The browser's a different story.
I'm anti-app because apps can get into your phone. Browsers can't. It's a different setup. So I use browsers for everything. When you even ask me, do you want an app? No, I don't want the app. I want to use the browser. Even for my banking and stuff, I won't use the apps because apps are downloaded directly to your phone.
Apps
First
get
rule.
hacked the most.
That's right.
Apps get
First rule,
hacked.
you don't download anything on your phone that can be hacked or communicates with something else. That's why you stay away from apps. Apps are bad. Browsers are different. Your security will take care of your
I don't
browser.
know because right before you were saying the app on the phone and you click agree and whatever. Now you're
No,
saying something different.
no, it doesn't matter. No, it's not, Mike. I said this from the very first start of this argument. It doesn't matter. You have to set up a Facebook account, just like you do a Twitter or MySpace or anybody else. You have to set up the account. It doesn't matter where you use it at. You can use it anywhere you want, but you still have to click agree to set up your account. And every account you have to click agree. I have
Clicking
14 of them.
agree on an app is different than clicking agree online. I'm telling you
You
right
have
now.
to click it no matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. You don't have to even click it. Once you sign up the account, you can put it anywhere you want. You've already agreed. You established that account. If you use that account on your app, you've already agreed. You don't have to even worry about it. You agreed to it when you set up the account. That's all there is to
I don't
this. You
know.
set up the account,
We
you
don't have
agree.
enough time to go into the legality of all this, really,
It's
because
not a legal
you're not
thing.
really
It's not
understanding
illegal.
what I'm
I
talking
understand
about.
just fine. This is just business 101. You agreed to the agreement. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter about anything else. And any lawyer
I've
or any
actually read
judge
the
will tell you
agreement.
that.
Until you read the agreement, then you can't talk. You can't
Yeah,
talk.
you can. It's still an
No, you
acknowledgement of
can't.
the agreement.
You didn't. No, you didn't. You
You
don't know what's in the
agree.
agreement.
You agreed.
You
Look,
don't know what's
all
in
I
there.
ever needed to know about Facebook's agreement was
How can
that
you
they
know
can
what's
use their
in there?
pictures, they
It
can
would
use
be
your stuff, and they
illegal
can
for
ban you
them
for
to put
anything
in
you
it.
say.
It would be illegal for them to put in an agreement that you're allowing a company to abuse you. That would be illegal for
No,
them
that's you
to make
saying
that
that. That's
to make
you
that
saying
part
that, but they're not
to make that
abusing
the
you.
stipulation to use their software.
You accepted to
No
be
software
abused.
company does that.
My ass, Microsoft does that all the time. What are you talking about?
Microsoft abuses people?
Yeah, Microsoft abused you all the time,
When?
especially when they gave you the
When does
damn 11.
Microsoft
Boy,
ban
man,
you?
man, 11 was a complete abuse.
Maybe Google.
Millennium was a complete abuse. One was a complete abuse. What are you talking about, man?
Maybe Google.
Look,
Google's an
no, all
abuser.
software companies abuse you because they beta test on you. All Windows, all Apple's always beta tested on its
If you
people.
want to be beta tested, yeah, you can sign
No,
up to be
no,
beta
no,
tested.
no. Everything's a beta test. 11 was a beta test. 10 was a beta test. That's how they send it out, and then they keep it working until they get it where they want it because they can't wait any longer. They have to release it. So they just go along and change it. That's why there's always
join in on the beta test.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
I've done
When
it.
they released 10, it was not completed. Anybody who got it, which was most of the world, it was not completed. They never release a completed software system. Even games don't do that. They do them and they complete them as they go to find out what the bugs are. That's how they do it. It's just how you do software. It's just software 101.
But they don't make you sign an agreement that they can abuse you.
Yes, they do. You think you're being abused. You clicked acknowledge. You said abuse me away, Facebook. When you
No,
clicked
I
it,
didn't. I
yes,
actually
you
read
did. When
the
you
agreement.
clicked it, you said
You're
abuse
laughing,
me,
but
baby.
read the agreement, then tell me next week. Read the agreement.
Because I don't
Do
need to,
yourself a
Mike.
favor.
I know,
Read
I
the
know,
agreement,
I know the basics of
and
most corporate
then
businesses,
highlight
and
the
it's
area
not
in
going
that
to make it.
agreement. Highlight the area in that agreement that says they
Okay,
can
Mike. Let me
abuse
ask
you.
you a question. Let me ask you a serious question. Did you not know that they could use all your pictures when you signed up? Yes, you did. So that's
Uh,
abuse right there. But you agreed to that
Anything
abuse.
that I
Did you
upload,
not know that they could listen to your conversation, record your conversation, and use them for whatever you want? You did. So that's you agreed to the abuse. You agreed to the abuse because you knew beforehand, damn good and well, they were going to do it when you
using
did it.
pictures and banning people and restricting people is a different thing.
Hmm. It's all the same
If you got a
category.
reason to ban someone, fine. You got a reason to restrict someone, fine. But if you have no reason or it goes against your
But
agenda,
you're saying they don't have a
that's
reason. You
completely
don't know that
so
they
so
have it, don't
Zucker.
have a
So just
reason.
to
You're assuming.
explain to you because you don't know,
Bad to do.
Zuckerberg was in front of Congress for restricting free speech on
And
conservatives.
did he get in any trouble for it? No.
But they're still going through it.
Did
They're
they
still jumping
care?
through the fire hoops.
No.
They're still jumping through the fire hoops. But that's why he was called in. Oh, now the liberals are in there. They're not going to call him in.
He got called in when Trump was there and they didn't do him anything.
Right.
Because it's
Right.
almost impossible to touch these guys. Because of the agreement, it's just almost impossible to touch them.
Social media restricts free speech on
And they're allowed
conservatives.
to. Wait, it's not
That
just
simple.
social media, though, Mike. Burger King does free speech. Eckerd's does free speech. Almost every grocery chain, every apartment chain, everybody restricts free speech. You can't walk in your job
But
saying F this,
Burger
F that,
King,
screw you, bite me,
but
kiss my ass.
Burger
You can't
King
do any of
doesn't
that. You'd be
present
fired.
Burger King doesn't present a platform for people to share ideas. That's
No,
food. It's a
it's
food
worse.
business.
They do a platform to share food,
They sell
and you
food.
can go in there and
They
curse
sell
because they're not
food.
going to allow it. There's a code of ethics for behavior, and it's always going to be like that
Listen,
no matter
if I
where you
hire you
are.
to sell food at Burger King, I'm not expecting you to spout
It
off
wouldn't matter.
about
You could work for the
politics.
media. You
I'm
could work for
expecting
a
you to
local
sell
newspaper.
burgers. Sell burgers, sell
You could
fries.
work for CNN. They can still tell you how to dress, how to act, and what you can say.
That's
That's
fine.
part of being
It's
a
not
job.
about presenting a platform for people to use
It's
to
exactly
communicate.
what is CNN. CNN's a news
CNN does
platform.
not present platforms for people to communicate.
Yes, they do. They're a news network communicating to the world, and they let
They,
people from all
well,
around
yeah,
the world
when
communicate through
they
them.
got a huge news story wrong, and I called them out on it many years ago.
Yeah,
And
well,
then the
everybody gets
managing
stories
editor
wrong,
said that they are under
but
no
it doesn't
obligation to
matter.
tell the truth. They are under no
And
obligation to tell the
again, they
truth.
don't have to because again, they're private companies
So you
that
think
can
that's
do what
okay?
they say they can do. It's not a matter if it's okay; it's the way it is.
It's
You
the
want
way
to
it is for
change it?
now,
If
and
you want
it's
to change
wrong.
it, you got to
It's
get
wrong.
Congress out and get a new Congress
Right,
in.
is what I'm saying.
You got to get the old Congress out and a new Congress in. But as long as
Is
they
what
split
I'm saying.
hairs, as long as it's social media on the internet, it's a whole different standard of rules compared to regular media.
So
Um,
it's a war, and anybody who gets restricted, I tell them to challenge it, challenge it, challenge it, challenge it.
well, let's put it this way: the overall majority of 1 billion people on Facebook do not get restricted. So it'd be a much bigger problem, and they just don't know.
Just conservatives,
No, it's not just conservatives.
the
People
ones
with
I know.
liberals. Well, I know liberals that have been
I
banned
know
the
liberals
independence
that
of
threaten
Venezuela.
murder on there, and nothing happens to them. So
Well, I've seen lots of liberals get kicked off. I mean, Kathy got kicked off weekly, and she's one of the biggest liberals. You can see Jeffrey's been kicked off. He's a liberal.
Captain Psycho.
Well, it doesn't matter. They're still liberals, though. Liberals get kicked off just as much as conservatives do. It's just conservatives get stupid and say stupid shit, and it gets them kicked off. You can't go around toting guns. They're not going to put up with gun violence on Facebook. They're just not going to do it, and they don't have to. Personally, I think it's wrong. I think it should be free speech because you said your media, and media says free
I think you're
speech.
generalizing. I know a lot of
Yeah.
conservatives that don't talk about guns.
Mhm.
They just want a decent society to live in.
Yeah, but the majority of people who own guns in this country are conservatives.
I know a lot of Democrats who own guns. Man,
Yeah, but they're not the majority.
No, I know
It's
a lot.
and we know that because
Don't
we
be
know where the
hating on
majority of
Democrats
guns
with
are.
their guns because there's plenty of them.
Yeah, well, we know where the majority of guns are in this country. It's in the heartland and the South, and none of them are really going to be liberals. That's going to be mostly.
Chuck
That's
Schumer
going to be
carries a
mostly.
gun, but boom.
Yeah, so did Rachel Maddow.
Yeah, they all do.
But there's
The
always
ones
an
who-
exception to a
The
rule.
ones who scream that guns aren't good for people all have guns around them.
Yeah, well, of course they do. But most of them don't carry guns. They just have guns around them. There's somebody else doing the killing,
They're
not themselves.
protected by guns.
Yeah, you are. And I've bitched about that for years. How can you ban guns when you're being protected by guns? What bothered me the most, because we got to go, what bothered me the most about all of this was this thing with the judge. So somebody's trying to kill this guy, and all of a sudden, the people who voted to get security for themselves last year, ASN and gang, didn't vote to get them security, even though they ended up passing a bill to get them new security. Those people did not vote. Those were 30 Democrats that did not vote to get security for the Supreme
27.
Court. Oh, was it 27? It's so guys, that's just pathetic. I mean, every one of them should be voted out of Congress, especially since they voted to have their own
They
security.
don't care what happens to those Supreme Court justices. If Kavanaugh had
Oh,
gotten
oh!
killed, they wouldn't
On
care.
a side note, the DOJ said anyone is caught giving out information on a judge's location will be prosecuted, whoever they are.
It's online, unfortunately. You get all that
They,
stuff out there.
yeah, a lot of it is online, but recently a lot of it was put out there by somebody who works in the Supreme Court and in
I just
Congress.
can't believe they let those people day and night go out there and harass the entire neighborhood, without the police busting them for disturbing the peace. It's not a peaceful protest. It's a protest that's
And
disturbing.
you know what? This will teach judges not to live in D.C. Come stay there for when you're working, but go to a safer place
They
in your life.
followed that one into the bathroom. She went to the bathroom. Men and women followed her in the bathroom. These people are out of control, and they've been green lighted by the Democratic Party. I mean,
Yeah, well, that's all
they
going to
now
stop
now
here
they think
soon.
they're the Antifa people, same kind of groups
Oh
that
yeah,
the Jane's
but you know
blood
what?
on you. Look what
So
they're doing to abortion, like the whole abortion thing and Planned Parenthood and all that. And they're breaking windows and painting everything red and making threats that people are going to get killed. Wow.
well, the June 6th thing. Uh, a lot of things aren't coming out in this, ladies and gentlemen, which you'll hear when Congress takes over and changes, because this is going to be redone by the Republicans when it takes over. Because there's a lot of stuff that's not being told. The fact that Nancy Pelosi told the cops to stand down, Nancy refused the help from the National Guard. That someone actually left the doors of the building unlocked because they were supposed to be locked. So there's a lot of stuff that went on here that nobody wants to talk about. They don't want to talk about that the group didn't actually kill anyone that happened a different way. So they don't want to talk about that either. They don't want to talk about how many of the cops that won't come testify. There's just a lot of stuff that was
Well,
not said.
they're trying to intimidate the Supreme Court. They're doing a pretty good job of it, and the government's allowing them to do it. So that's where we're at.
We'll see if the Supreme Court's intimidated. Now, I don't see. I know at least four of the judges are not going to be intimidated. They're going to tell you bite them. Now, Corbett and what's his name? They may be. I don't know. Corbett is pretty pissed off now. So as long as he stays mad, that's 5 of the 9. They've got what they want to do. And
All that
as it stands,
they're threatening to flood the court with a whole bunch of other judges that they can appoint. So they get the majority.
that's not going to work anyway. You have to have 60 votes for that, not 50. So you're not going to get that through the Senate.
I think that the
They can keep
Democrats
that problem.
are such thin ice. There's a lot of individual Democrats that don't want to lose their job, and they see Biden, they see all this crap in AOC, and they don't want any
Yeah,
part of it.
and they know they're
But
going to lose their job.
they're not really
And
speaking
McDonald
out either.
said, yeah, McConnell said it. If you appoint 6 or 9 more justices when we get in, we'll just appoint 12 more. And
I
he
know
said,
you
"You're
want you
not going to
want the
win
My
this way."
Pillow guy to be your senator, man. I know you want that.
No,
Come on, he's
no,
got the
he can
nice
stay. He lives
your
in your
nice
state,
pillows you
man.
like so much, and he's got the
He
slippers.
lives in your state, man. So I don't care. He's a pervert. I just want nice slippers.
He doesn't live in New
It's
York.
yeah, that's where he was the other day. So he got a place up there. I
He
was
like
listening
lives
to him.
in Minnesota. Isn't
He was on
he?
Sean Hannity.
He's probably in the Bronx looking for crack.
He might have been. He was in Sean Hannity though. He was. Well, he don't like New York, but he's got a place up there for some reason. He was talking
Yeah.
about it on Hannity the other day. And I
Oh,
can't really listen to Hannity for more than about 9 minutes. There's something
I
about the
can't
guy.
listen to Hannity at all. He's
There's
a
something
freak.
about him. He does some good stories sometimes. I just can't listen to him. Something about his voice or something. I don't know what it is, but I just can't listen to him. And really, oh no. As far as CNN goes, people, real quick before we go, Don Lemon, Trevor Noah, and all of them. Not Trevor, Don, whichever one it was. They've actually started coming down on Biden. CNN is really starting to come down on Biden, and you're going to see NBC and ABC and CBS do it as well, or they're going to be out of business.
The only one I
Uh,
like from Fox is that Greg Gutfeld. I think Greg's all right, man. I mean, he's a wacko. I like him.
Somebody posted Fox's top 10 hot women. They all look the same. Blonde,
Yeah,
short haired. I mean,
yeah,
they all look
they
the
all look
same.
like robots.
What was the really famous one that went to go to NBC? What's her name? They all look like her.
The one with the
Uh,
blood coming out of her
I,
eyes and everywhere.
I don't know. What's her name? She's really famous. I can't remember her name right now, but
There's
it's
another.
they all look like her.
There's another Laura. They got that Lynn Ingram, and she's another one who's like brainless, man.
She's a weirdo, man. She's a
So
weirdo.
I don't like
She was a weirdo before she got over
Tucker
there.
Carlson, and they're all horrible. You know what I mean? But
Well,
at least Greg
Tucker's all
Gutfeld.
right, man. Tucker's a DH, man. He
You got
is.
that guy
He's a
Tyrese, and at least he has an original opinion. You know what I mean? There, so I don't hate on those guys.
Tucker likes to talk to shit. That's one of the things I like. I don't watch him, but
He's
I
a
don't know.
little
I don't
he's
watch
a
any
little
news people.
squidgy guy. He's a little squidgy
But
type of guy.
I like those sections he does with what's his name, the skinny black headed guy. Those are good.
I
When he
can't
goes
watch him
out to the
because
different liberal colleges, those are freaking
I
hilarious.
can't listen to his voice. That was Jesse Waters in the beginning when he worked for that other dude that
Yeah,
they
yeah,
ousted,
yeah. And
and
yeah, I don't know why they got rid of
now
because
Jesse Waters has his own thing.
because he
I
was
don't
good
like
about
him
it.
though.
He was good about
I'm
going
not a
to the
fan of him.
colleges.
I don't like him.
No, but I liked it. The college things that was
I
hilariously
liked it
funny
when he
because
got kicked out of Cornell. That was funny.
when he because he go ask liberals these questions and they'd be like, "Duh." It was just hilariously funny. Anyway, guys, he goes, "We got to go. We're way late. We went way over tonight. Like, well, not really because we were 20 minutes late,
There's
but we
nobody
got to
on
get
after.
guys. Yeah, we anyway, we got to get out of here. Y'all behave yourselves. Stay out of trouble, and you can always send in news media. I'd rather you send them to my messenger than to my email because it's just easier for me to use them. And if
Hopefully
you're not
Linda
on
will
my
come on
messenger,
next
then you can
week.
send them.
Hopefully
Yeah,
we can get
well,
Linda.
last time I talked to her, she was still having problems. So maybe we talk to her and we can get it worked out before next Friday. We're just next Friday is the 24th, so J. May Nichols will be joining us too. So he'll be here. And well, to answer your question, Reese, you can come again. I said this at the beginning of the show. If you're very well versed in politics, we don't care if you're a liberal, we don't care if you're conservative, we don't even care if you're an independent. It doesn't matter to us. We just care that you know your politics, or your if it's politics, you better know. If it's current events, you better know them. That's all we ask, is that you're current on your events and current on your politics. Well, you always get the internet to look shit up. So, that's not the point. It's just be current, because you know we're going to talk about the economy. You know we're going to talk about Joe Biden. You know we're going to talk about the Ukraine, even though we don't want to. We're going to talk about a whole other stuff. So you just need to keep up. Like you heard us talking
People
about Facebook tonight and
people
Twitter
got to
and
be on their facts.
Elon Musk. Just stay on it. Or what? Megan and I always don't agree about something. No, that's part of doing what we're doing, buddy. Yeah, we do shows together all the time. We're not worried about that. Y'all need
That's why
to
we cover
just
each other.
know.
When Joe is wrong, I'm right. Right?
Yeah, so and it's a good compliment. Well, no, it's true usually because if you're wrong, I'm right. Right. So when we are wrong, which is not often, but when we are, it's always a good compliment cover up. But guys, all we and look, if you're right, and come on, you put us to shame, which I want to see you do that. But come on, it's we
We've
don't
had
mind.
people on the show that didn't know their facts. So that was kind of
Yes,
funny.
we've had a few over the years, and it's just bad because we're going to eat them for lunch, and then we feel bad later on because we ate them for lunch,
Oh, I don't feel bad.
and well, some politics are
I
going to
don't
be more
I
heated
don't
than
even
others.
get indigestion from something like that.
Well, Carol, to answer
You know
your
you
question about Trump, Trump's going to be your next president unless they find a way to get him in trouble with June
maybe
6th or this
DeSantis, man. I
this
think
this
DeSantis.
New York. The only way Trump's not going to be your president is if he gets in trouble in New York or if he gets in trouble with this committee. Other than that, he's your next president. He's polling.
DeSantis with
He's polling.
that nice lady
Yeah, but he's
Latina
polling
in
10th polling.
Texas.
Yeah, but he's polling 10 points ahead of. I mean, Trump's polling 10 points ahead of DeSantis right now. So
Was he?
right now, if the primaries today, Trump's the winner, and if he runs against any current Democrat, he's the winner. You got to remember, he gets to say this is what is going to help Trump more than anything. The first election was a lot harder. This one's going to be easier because of Biden, he gets to walk around and say, "I told you so. I told you so." Remember what I told Merkel? Yeah. Remember what I told him? Remember? And now he gets to boast that Russia was a complete lie. He's in a much better position to win now than he was before,
You
and
know,
he
man,
gets to go around
there's
and
no
say,
way I'd be able
"Remember
to
the
vote.
economy." I can't. I'm not going to vote for him. I'll say it right now, but
I,
um,
I'm saying I can't. I would never be able to vote Democrat.
no, I
So I
can't vote
mean,
Democrat either. So, well,
whatever
all right, I can't say that
Republicans
because
pull out,
I did vote for Clinton both times, and I voted for Obama once. The second time, I was like, "No, I ain't voting for you again, you loser bastard."
I voted for Obama the
But
first
you know what?
time.
I only
Before that,
voted
I
for
voted for
Jeb
Ralph
Bush. I
Nader.
mean, yeah, I only vote. When I voted for Bush, I only voted for him the first time. Second time, I was like, "No, you're a moron."
Yeah, I didn't vote for
Uh,
Bush. That's all.
the only reason, the only saving grace to Baby Bush's regime was Darth Cheney. If it wouldn't have been for Darth Cheney, it would have been a complete disaster. That's Liz Cheney's father. Yeah. And Liz is done. She's only polling 26% in her state right now behind the incumbent. I mean, behind the challenger who's polling at 56%.
Yeah,
She's out. This is her last Senate race. She's
she's
gone. She'll be
horrible
out of
anyway.
Senate. Yeah, she is.
She's another person that's just hopped up on her own personality, but not representing people. They
Yeah,
lose their
she was more
place.
interested. Yeah, she thought she was going to get vindication through this. She was running around saying, "Oh, we got a criminal referral." I have not heard the DOJ yet say that he's seen any information for a
Anything
criminal.
named Cheney is bad.
But anyway, guys, we got to go and thank everyone for coming. Michael, y'all be sure to catch him on Wednesday. I'm on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Y'all can catch him with Discovery Paranormal and the Red Pill News. And of course, I'm here on Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday, so you can catch me on those. Monday's a specialty show, so you got to catch when they're up. But Wednesdays, of course, is UFO Undercover, and we're on the Centralist Tonight. No, Science and Beyond is going to be on Mondays, but it's going to actually only be found on video. It's not going to run against the entire station. So they'll kind of be like half-ass pre-records is what they'll be.
Hmm.
But on that note, we got to go
That's the
again.
way
You
to
can always
advertise
write to
it.
me at
Tune
iCarCops.net.
into
Yeah.
the half-ass pre-record.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's like a special guest thing because y'all get to see something that you would not normally
You
get
know
to
who I
see.
miss, man? I miss Jim Mars. I was thinking about him the other day.
Yeah, I miss Jim too.
He was in my head for some reason.
Jim and I had many conversations.
He was so knowledgeable in the paranormal, just
Not just that,
yeah,
we did a lot of political stuff.
he was funny. He was cool to talk to. Man, I miss that dude. I really do.
You should go see him. And I did several. Matter of fact, his last two shows I did with him, which is his last two shows, by the way, was about UFOs, and the last one was
I
about
think
politics.
I was on one of them, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he knows his politics, man. Now, see, he would have been a good addition to us because he really knows his shit because he researched it. He took his time and did his homework, and he liked to get really in depth in things. And so, but I miss him. There's a lot of good ones that have passed now. So, and I trying to find them. And some of the young ones, I got some good young ones coming up, but they're still not really into what they haven't got into their own yet, I guess we should say. But on that note, excuse me, good night and stay tuned for Spaced Out Radio. I'll see y'all all Wednesday.
Adios.